skin is dark and they don't know us. It's cause we stuck on that crack and that doja. Allow our brains to be polluted, now they mold us. Don't hate on me, hate on them dirty fools that stole us. You rather be dunking with Jordan on some posters other than smashing.
I remember there was a time when we was kings and queens, prophets and rulers, judging the earth. But now we stuck at the bottom of the totem pole. Where did we go wrong as a people? I think our people need to understand this with a wake-up call and give them understanding on what's going on. So bring it.
Early morning, rise up, open your eyes up, looking in the mirror, it gets no clearer. Cause we don't understand our own selves, drowning in sorrow with empty Hennessy bottles upon the shelf. Cause everybody wanna be a king, selling out their soul for this mean green cream thing. Paper chasing but not facing the facts that as a nation we all done got lax and letting the devil control us. And thinking like them damn Africans, they sold us. We in captivity because they hold us. Working hard with heavy burdens on our shoulders. Man, I thought we were some soldiers, but every second that I look, we getting creamed like Folgers. You see, the Lord done told us.
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom. Shalom.
Welcome to Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge for y'all online. We're at 8524 South Braeswood Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77071. We have classes Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 10 p.m. Friday's classes are 6 to 9 p.m. And then tomorrow, Saturday's classes, we have 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We also do kids classes every Sunday from 11 to noon. 11 a.m. to noon. Every Sunday we do kids class. And that's on our other channel, ISB HBK Kids. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to that channel because that's a good one for your kids to get a lot of knowledge off of and get a lot of interaction with other children that's trying to learn the truth and learn the wisdom of the Bible. If you got any questions or comments during the course of the class, you can hit me up at 832-941-2443. Please text only. Or you can put it right there at the bottom of your YouTube live chat if you're watching us live. And we'll answer your questions all according to the scriptures. Also, in between classes, you can hit up Priest Kazakia, or if you didn't get your question sufficiently answered online, you can also hit up Priest Kazakia, and his number is 281-707-2737. Another way you can contact us is through email, which is Hidden Truth 12. That's hiddentruth12@gmail.com. All right, so you can get a hold of us those 3-4 different type of ways. If you need garments made, men or women, all right, we got a lot of brothers that have been getting some garments made, some very nice custom made garments and everything. You can get girdles, armbands, headbands from our Israel Wear page. That's Israel WEAR. But also sisters, if y'all want fringes sewn on dresses, on blouses, on anything like that, you can get those made through Israel Wear. So don't let the brothers hog all the fun. All right. If you have any donations, we're of course accepting donations for the homeless, shoes, canned goods, clothes, anything, underwear, especially socks. Draws, all that. We're accepting those things at any of the school locations. That includes our San Antonio location, which is at 4219 Centergate Street, and that's in San Antonio, Texas 78217. And we're also in New Mexico at 501 Copper Avenue Northwest. That's Albuquerque, New Mexico 87102. All right, and of course, we're accepting them here in Houston at 8524 South Braeswood Boulevard, Houston, Texas 77071. All right. If you have any monetary donations you'd like to get, one more thing, I'm sorry. Also for donations, if you have any school supplies, office supplies, anything that you think will help in the educational process of your people, we're especially interested in dictionaries, the older the better, thesauruses, the older the better, etymology books, again, the older the better. Any kind of history books on any part of the world, all right? Those are really good. And again, the older, the better, all right? Whatever you can get your hands on, Babylon to Timbuktu, Zondervan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary, those are all good. any kind of Bible dictionaries, Bibles, and apocryphas. We especially like having those. That way, when new people come in, they don't have to, hit us up and feel guilty because they can't keep up. We can go ahead and distribute them with basically the right kind of textbook, just like any other school. All right. So we're very dependent on those donations to help our people, and we try to use our businesses to do what we can also to keep the lights on at the school and everything like that. Again, if you had made your vow, we had asked about a vow of $150, at least $100 that you can make every month toward the school, so that we can keep the lights on, keep the rent paid for the school, and then the business money can go toward our work we're trying to get done in Trinidad and Tobago, getting brothers sent down there and getting the school set up down there. All right. But any kind of monetary donation you want to give or your vows, you can put in your local Wells Fargo under Israelite School of Biblical History, and that's account number 101-580-6167. All right? I'll say it one more time. That's account number 101-580-6167. All right. If there are any questions, of course, the first hour of class is open for questions. All right? And so this is a good day to do that. Go ahead and send your questions in, and we'll get right to those. All right?
Good.
Right now, I'm answering some of the questions we get on the YouTube chat. Just school locations and things like that. Did any questions pop up on there, sis?
None yet.
Do y'all have any questions in class on any topic?
Yeah, I have one.
Let's get it.
I was looking for a scripture to use for when and when not to speak. Cause like I be at the barbershop, sometimes I be wanting to intervene, and then sometimes I sit there and hold my peace because I don't know whether to speak on it or not, or worried about offending somebody or something.
Right. Nah, that's definitely a hard one. Because that fire is gonna burn in you, right? Let me get that real quick.
I be trying to hold it, but sometimes I can't help it, and they get mad. But I be like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes I had to use an analogy with them too, because I'm like, okay, well I'm doing this kind of walk. Y'all walking contrary to my walk. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that you guys saying here that I don't want to hear too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I sit here and continue to work. You know what I mean?
Yep. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. Let's see. First of all, I want you to go to Jeremiah.
I'm there.
All right. 5 verse 14. Appropriate book for somebody that's named after the same person.
Right.
All right, so go to Jeremiah chapter 5 verse 14.
Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 14. Wherefore thus said the Most High Elohim of hosts, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood.
See that? So that's the problem, is he put his words in your mouth, and them words are like fire, man. If you don't get it out of there, it'll burn you up. You know what I mean? So you be wanting to. I understand the problem because you be wanting to just blaze everybody you see, right?
Well, not so much of that. I be wanting to blaze them who be trying to be scoffers. You know what I'm saying? They are using the Most High name in vain. Like they love that OMG crap. They love talking about God this, God that. But then when they'll say something about, oh man, I'm gonna get this pork chop sandwich or a bacon wrap. Like, really, bro? I say, I'll be like, you just say you love God? I say, don't you know he tell him not to eat? Man, I know, bud. It's always that bud. I'm like, nah, ain't no bud. You know what I'm saying? You either do or you don't.
Right.
Or it be situations to where, all right, it was a funny situation. I use what they call a curse word, but I know that's not cursing. So I use one of those words, and somebody say, "Hey man, you see this old lady right here? You tripping? It's people in here." So I say, okay. But these same time, like we have elders in here, kids running around, and y'all want to talk about, female crotches, and I ain't gonna say the word they be saying, you know what I'm saying, and this and that, hoes and strip club. I say, you think that's decent? So the Most High, he made fool of them, and in fact, the guy tried to get loud with me, like, I don't care what you're talking about, this is my cousin. So I was like, all right, cool. So Family Feud was on, that's a family show.
Right.
So the question was, what does a woman put in her husband's mouth other than food? You see what I'm saying? So I showed, because the statement I made to him, I was like, man, what I just said is nothing. I mean, they should hear this on TV every day. You know
Right.
And right after I said that, after they came on, and the answer was boobs. You know what I'm saying? But they said,
Right.
So, it just be a lot of back and forth in there,
Well, the thing is, you ain't gonna be able to save everybody. You know what I mean? A lot of people is meant for destruction, but the thing is, the scripture tells us we gotta tell them whether they will hear or forbear. But when they forbear, you don't gotta keep going with them, man. But
I don't reject a lot of them, and they notice it now. Like, and it's funny, the Most High, he showed them too the power that his word got, because like it can be chaotic in the shop. And so if I quote any scripture,
right,
it goes from chaotic to shh. And the whole I can be whispering words to somebody.
right,
The whole shop, shh, like it get quiet enough.
yeah,
Or I know they'll try to include me in on things. I'm like, no, I'll be good. And I notice that I've been really separating myself and just, doing my work. I still speak and be cordial, but I don't get into every conversation.
yeah.
Barbershop seem like it's dead.
See, this is one of the reasons why we tell new brothers they got to be around the other brothers as much as possible, because you got to know this, man. Get that Matthew 5 or 10. What is it? Matthew 10:16. All right, you got to know this. You're out there in the world, and these people ain't gonna get it right away. So what you're gonna have to do is learn from brothers how to operate in the world. You see that? See, you're in this. You're separate from the world now. You understand? But the knowledge you have is different from theirs. So you're gonna think different, analyze things different, see things different, and they're not gonna understand it. They're just gonna think you're an enemy as soon as you do it. As soon as you start checking them on stuff, they're gonna see you as an enemy. So you gotta see how brothers do it. That way, because you want to win that love, right? You want to win the love of the congregation, as the scriptures tell us. And we'll hit all these, man, but read that one real quick.
Matthew chapter 10 and verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Behold, I send you forth as a sheep in the midst of wolves.
See, know this. Christ sent us forth as sheep in the midst of damn wolves, man. That's all that's out there. So if you a sheep, you gonna sit there kicking the wolves in the face? Nah, you ain't got the teeth like that. You ain't got the access they got. You know what I mean? You ain't got the deadly tendencies that they got in them. You understand? So you got to understand that where you are, in any situation you are at, you're among wolves. All right? That's why he sent the apostles out 2 by 2. Because if I'm going to send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves, at least there's going to be some safety in numbers. You understand? So the thing is, if you're out there by yourself, having to fend off all these wolves, it's only gonna be so long before they tear you up. You see that? And that's the thing is that you don't want that or you get that one customer that come in and he knows scriptures. That demon get on him, he knows scriptures, and he trying to right, rapid fire all this anti-Hebrew stuff at you, right? And then you like, oh, I ain't learned that, you know what I mean? And then that start knocking down your faith. You see? That's why we have the drilling. That's why we have the marching and all that stuff. So you can see how brothers are going to operate when they get into these situations. Those drilling scriptures they hit you with all that time, every Tuesday, right? Those are what that's for, so that you be able to go ahead and dice them up.
I've been using the list that y'all were teaching us the other night, and the most I put on my heart to kind of just observe, being vigilant, and then I use. When you read some scripture, I don't remember exactly where I had to go back to my notes. We were talking about how the Holy Spirit try you before it just give you that wisdom or whatever. Right. So now I see. I was talking why the Most High had he allowed me to see certain things. And remember at first, I didn't know how to analyze them. And then you had another class on when y'all was talking about the spirits or whatever, how to deal with them.
Yeah.
And now I see them like trying to entice me. And it don't be the people. The spirits be actually trying to show themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I'm like, whoa, I kind of thought that, but now I see that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And like I say, since I've been separating myself more and more, they it's like more so like they trying to intimidate me.
Yeah.
So
you gonna get that?
So I just grab the word and just get to, you know what I'm saying, to myself though. You know what I'm saying? Or go sit in the car. And lately, the devil been so busy. My audio Bible app, I know I got the Bluetooth in the car. It don't even want to work now.
Yeah. No, he tried to hit every type of way, man. As soon as you come in, as soon as you start getting that word, he gonna try to hit every type of way, like it says in Matthew 13. He's gonna try to take that seed that was sown in you, right? So that's how he's gonna deal with you in every type of situation. So that's why he told us in Matthew 10:6. Read that again.
Matthew chapter 10 and verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
See that? So you gotta when you're out there, you gotta know that instead of going out there trying to be the lion, he didn't send you out like that. He sent you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. You understand? So instead of going out there trying to keep everybody else on point and in check, get yourself right first.
Right. That's why I've been being quiet like this last week, whatever. And it, like I say, it be hard because there's stuff you hear and the stuff they saying.
Yeah.
And I be like, nah, they just trying to get my attention. They trying to provoke me, so I'm just gonna.
And that's a righteous thing. How you feel? That's a righteous thing. You know what I mean? But you gotta know this. You are in the midst of wolves, man. You are in the midst of people that when they get heated at you, they start trying to set you up, trying to do certain things to make you shut up. When you read that Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, Wisdom of Solomon 2, where he talks about how the wicked look at the righteous. And then they start getting them murderous thoughts, right? They start wanting to set him up. Why? Because he's not the same way as they are. All right, so you got to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. You see that? So you know how they're going to be thinking and you know what they're going to be trying to do. So you're going to be, okay, you know what? I don't got to be in every argument. I don't gotta engage everybody in conversation. Some people just ain't worth it. And that's why I said, being around brothers, you get to see, okay, I know where to pick my battles. You know what I mean? Does brothers talk to every single person and go in 100% on conversations when y'all passing out flyers? Do they do that? Nah, because some people, they already know, hey, here you go. Here's your flyer, right? And then other people, they might engage, right? They ask them some questions, and then the person that asks questions back, they treat them nice. Okay, cool. We can conversate.
Right.
See that?
And that's why I try to keep it at a minimum, like to my clients.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We be in the chair, they be talking how I feel about it. They'll get to talking to me about some word stuff, and I'm like, yeah, or he be like, yeah, I'm on the ball fade, and shave off the beard, and I'll be like, hey, I say, you believe in God? Yeah, man. I say, you know, we keep command us to keep our beard. He like, oh yeah, man, I ain't know that. I'm like, yeah, but you know, go ahead. I was like, okay. I try to find another avenue, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I can't just sit there and talk with them about wordy conversation. I try with him, you know, sometimes just like you say, try to be wise at certain. And sometimes I'm like, you know what, he trying to take it this way, so I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet and go and cut his hair.
Right. Well, let's give you some scriptures, man, because a lot of scriptures are popping in my head about, you know, how to deal on this, man. You got that Matthew 10 and verse 5, or 10 and verse 6, right?
10, 16?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Now we're going to go to 1 Corinthians. I want you to start at 10 and verse 3.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3.
Uh,
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3.
And we're going to read through verse 6.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. And did all eat the same spiritual meat?
No, 2 Corinthians 10 verse 3 through 6.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
See, know this. You're walking in the flesh, but you're warring against the flesh. All right? You're at a barbershop. They're going to want to come and get cut the way they want to get cut. And you can tell them, if they don't hear you, go ahead and do their cut. You know what I mean? But that your war ain't after that. Your war is after their mind. Your war is you trying to show them a better intellect. So before you even bash them over the head with the scriptures, get to know them first, right? Get to know them, okay? You know, become friendly with them. We'll go through a lot of scriptures about that. But read on.
Verse 4. But the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
Right?
Casting down imaginations and every high thing that installeth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringeth into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
So this is what we want to do when we get that word. We want to bring in captivity every thought to the knowledge of Christ, right? You want to take everybody that's walking around you and bring them in, hey, lock them up and get them under Christ, right? That's how that spirit is in us, that we want to do that. We want to break down every imagination they got that's against the Most High. We want to do all these things, right? But check this out, read.
Verse 6. And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled.
So when should we be ready to revenge all disobedience?
When your obedience is fulfilled.
When you've been trained properly. You understand? When you've been given the knowledge the correct way and been taught the right way, that's when you want to having that readiness to revenge all disobedience. All right. So that's when you can go out when you've been properly trained and you know what you're doing and you're able to rightly divide the word of truth. Then okay, it's time to go hit the streets. You know what I mean? It's time to go hit people. But until then, right now, you just want to study, man. You want to get that in you, get all that study in you. All right. We're gonna go to Proverbs. I think it's 18, but let me get it. 18 and 24, that's right.
Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 24. A man that has friends.
So for y'all online, if you just joined us, we're in question mode right now, and the brother asked, when should you speak on certain things and when not to, right? So we're going to these certain scriptures, because we all have that will and that desire when we first get the truth, and even as we go into the truth for a while, where we want to go and check everybody, and we want to make sure everybody else is in line with what we believe. And I'm gonna let y'all know it's not gonna happen. Not everybody's gonna be in line with what you believe. That don't gotta change yours. That don't gotta change your belief. All right. Don't let that discourage you. It's not going to happen. But 1/3 of Israel or 2/3 of Israel is going to be cut off. And you'll see why when you start trying to share that word. Because they turn into some demons on you, man. All right? But read that again.
Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 24.
Right?
A man that had friends must show himself friendly.
Right, there you go. So a man that have friends, he got to prove himself friendly, man. You got to show yourself friendly first. See, when you have friends, then they listen to what you say, right? But if you ain't made friends with them, they ain't going to listen to you. Right? Okay, so I got to make friends with them first. Well, how do you make friends in the world? Do you start bashing them over the head with rules and regulations? Nah, right? You don't be, first time you invite somebody over your house, hey, wipe your feet, hey, take your shoes off, hey, do this, hey, do this. They're going to be like, never mind, bro. It's all good. You know what I mean? I'll eat at home. Right? Nah, you let them come in, I'm sorry about my shoes. Oh, it's all good, man. Go, just go. You can put them over there by the door. It's all good. You treat them right. Treat them friendly, right? Let them do some things you let slide and everything like that. And as you progress through the relationship, you start bringing it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, hey man, if you can make sure you take your shoes off when you come in. You know what I mean? You're just trying to keep the place clean. You know how it is. I'll do it at your house too. You know what I mean? You'll keep it friendly. And then when, as y'all become friends, y'all be able to share everything. You know what I mean? What's that?
And that's what I did when I first over. It took me almost a year working there before I even started saying anything to anybody. And because I noticed a lot of them took the meekness for granted. Like, they took it as weakness. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't say nothing about this. Or I come in, they even started sabotaging my tools. Like taking screws out of my clippers. Yeah, stealing my razor blades. Like he'll blow hair up on me. Like all our stations are apart from each other. You blow the hair, alright, but he'll blow it sideways, throw me all up on my smart. And a lot of times I like to wear white. White is my favorite color. So I a lot of times when I was being quiet about it,
right?
You know what I'm saying? They took for weeks. So now when I voice my opinion about it, oh man, you tripped me, man, couldn't help me. Everybody gonna get. I say, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I let y'all make it because I'm trying to change. It's like they keep trying to provoke me to be that old man. They want to see me act out. They want to see, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm really trying to be on something different now. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand it. And like I told you, the one guy who next to him, he try to agitate me any way he can. Like today, he tried to make a joke. I'm blowing one of the other clients. I'm blowing the hair out to the middle of the floor so I can sweep it up. And he was like, oh. Hey, watch it. But he really being funny because he trying to imitate me, like, you know what I'm saying, how I did to him, like when he blew the hair from me. Right. Oh, man, I was playing with you, man. You ain't get no hair for me, so
yeah, you gonna have that, man. You gonna even have that in the world, man. You know what I mean? And the best thing you can do, man, is again, prove yourself, make yourself friendly. You know what I mean? Right. Joke along with it. You know what I mean? Oh, we're going to have a hair fight? Okay. You know what I mean? You do it like that. Joke along with him and just show him that don't affect me.
And I don't know if I'm wrong for it or not, but sometimes I was like, you know what, instead of me just saying something, I just turn sideways toward him and I act like I was blowing my smoke and I just was blowing the air back on him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know it sounded petty, but it was like, sometimes you just get frustrated sometimes, man. And my how can I say it? What do you call it? My temperament, you know what I'm saying? I've always had a bad temperament even from a child, so you know what I'm saying? So it be kind of hard for me. I feel like I've been doing awesome really because, back then, it would be 0 to 10 quick, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
For me to just come to him and, say something, give him a warning like, hey, such. I felt like that was more of a manly thing to do. Right. But he the type that he get real effeminate. He like to be loud and want everybody to see him. I say, bro, I said that to you, man. It's me and you right here. Why you casting into the whole shot? You know what I'm saying? Trying to get attention so somebody can, you know what I'm saying, try to start something. Yeah. He one of them type of guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, those are funny to deal with, man. That's the thing. You gotta have a lot of patience and deal with the greater wisdom. As soon as you show the greater intellect, it don't matter how loud they get. I had to deal with that when I was down there in Honduras, man. Yeah. And this big old football player looking dude with the dreadlocks, he looked like Marshawn Lynch kind of. Yeah, he would just he would make his opinion known to the whole room and everything, and then I throw in like I'll be talking to somebody else and showing them like how the Bible say anti what he say. So he tried to make it louder when I'm like, okay, I'm talking between me and this guy. You know what I mean? But he tried to make it loud like the whole room need to hear. So, in one of the meetings, the dude I was talking to, Dominican cat, he was sitting across from me. And the dude was just getting all loud and saying all his opinion about evolution and all these different things and everything. And our boys just looking at me like, you gonna say something? You gonna say something? I'm like, hell nah. This nigga making himself look stupid as hell already. I ain't gotta say nothing. He doing it all by himself. Like everybody else was looking at him like, no, that ain't right. You're like, no, that ain't even right. The dude kept, doing like that. So I let him keep talking a little bit. And then eventually I was like, look, man, just about everything you said was wrong. And I just categorically kind of broke it down for him, and everybody else is sitting there like, yeah. And then he wanted to get loud with me. And I'm like, okay, you don't know where I'm from. You don't know who I hang with, because we talk like this when we, like if there's a debate, if there's street speaking, anything like that, you see how we talk for street speaking. So he tried to get loud and do the thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get loud right along with you. That ain't nothing for me. Right. And then all the other people start getting spooked, like they thought it was about to be a fight. It's like, nah, this is just how men talk. You know what I mean? I was actually like feeling it, like, yeah, okay, we can finally talk like regular people now. But it ain't nothing to get all hostile about and get emotional about and be like, oh, he trying to fight me. Nah, that's how niggas talk. Exactly. So if you want to the weak, I became his weak. To the forward, I become his forward. If you want to get emotional, if you want to get loud, we can get loud. That's not a problem. I'm still gonna be smarter than you. I'm still gonna be saying more wisdom than you are. Right. See that? I'm just gonna be talking loud. That's all it is.
And then you can tell we were working in there because the owner had came to me early one morning. We had just opened up the shop.
Right.
He was like, man, he said, I ain't say nothing yesterday. He said, man, when you was in here talking, he was like, man, that hurt. He was like, that hurt my heart. Like he said that word hit me so hard. He said it made him kind of like just really hurt. He talking about like physically though.
No doubt.
Like man, it's the truth of what you're saying. Cause like a lot of people they hear, and then what the Most High do, he made them look weak because he'll send some more people in there. Cause there's a lot of people that come to the barbershop that are in the truth.
Right.
And they'll come in there and they might be speaking on some of the same stuff I was just finished talking about and reiterate. And man, and like a Rob, a lot of times he always call me in the middle, like I might be talking to somebody about the word, and the Most High have him call me for some reason every time. It never fails. And then I run into another brother, and I run into another brother at the same time.
Right.
So the Most High be making them. So my cousin, he was like, cuz, man, I know you were telling me, and I was fighting against you, but he was like, man, after hearing your friend when he called you on the phone, and then we went to the Jamaican, I like Jamaican food. And so we went to Gracie's to get some curry chicken. Went in there at my old barbershop. The guy who used to fight against me the most, he in the truth now. Right. You know what I'm saying? So he see me, we embrace each other and stuff like, yeah, some good. Like, man, it gotta be some truth to this, man. Everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So it's that brotherhood, man, that love, man. They see that. Well, I'm gonna hit some of these online, and then we'll get to talk. We'll get to rap some more, man, because we're getting a few of these online. It said, why do camps or brothers say that blonde hair is leprous? Doesn't that only apply to identifying someone with leprosy? Let's go there. Let's go to the scriptures. And let's see how we identified leprosy in the scriptures. So go to Leviticus chapter 13 and verse 30.
Leviticus chapter 13, verse 30.
So, we got the sister Jasmine. She said, shalom to you too. Why do camps or brothers say that blonde hair is leprous? Doesn't that only apply to identifying someone with leprosy? Like this guy has blonde patches in his beard, he might have leprosy. Let's see. Read the scripture.
Leviticus chapter 13, verse 30.
Then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean.
Right, so when you dealt with a person that had a yellow thin hair, right, then the priests pronounce you unclean. Now, if you look at people when they get that blonde hair, or people that are born with that blonde hair, it's usually yellow and thin, right? And it's like that all over. So the scriptures would describe them as a clean leper. Nonetheless, they still have leprosy. All right. So it don't matter if it's one hair, two hairs, the whole head is yellow. It's still leprosy. All right. Let's see. Read on.
It is a dry scalp, even a leprosy upon the head or beard.
Right. So yeah, it's a leprosy on the head or beard. So that person is a leper. And as you read down, it goes on into the how they're supposed to pronounce them clean and unclean for that type of leprosy, that yellow hair, leprosy. I was looking for this other part. Yeah, when you read up, so when you start at like 24 or 25, then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the hair in the bright spot be turned white, and it be in sight deeper than the skin, it is a leprosy broken out. So if it turned white or yellow, your hair was leprous. That part of you was leprous. All right? So if you have that all over your body, you got leprosy. Your hair is not meant to be yellow and thin. All right? Now you can be, if it's all over your body and you're not, and your skin is, lacking melanin and all that from head to toe, you're considered what is called a clean leper. That means you're not contagious, but you are a leper. All right? That's why everywhere the so-called white man go, that's what the first thing everybody called him. You know what I mean? When I was reading something, man, what it said I think it was in it was in Sex and Race, or not Sex and Race, Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. And he was showing that he took his dude to India, or this white dude went to India, and everybody that was looking at him was like, "Hey, is your friend sick? You see that? Your friend got leprosy." I think it's here. Yeah, page 14. That's funny. I was just going through this the other day. Is this it? No, I'm on the wrong page. Yeah, this is page 14. It said, another belief was, and still is, that a white skin was the result of leprosy. Voltaire thought that African albinos were descended from a race that had been whitened by leprosy. Many East Indians still believe that white people are the descendants of lepers. T.S. Ramanujan says, an Indian villager, after seeing an Englishman for the first time, asked me whether the gentleman was tainted with leprosy. Harold Cox tells of a high caste Indian woman who, on seeing white persons for the first time, said, why they have no skins? Y'all see this? Certain American Negroes also believe that a white skin was caused by leprosy. The ancestor of the whites, they say, was Gehazi, servant of Elisha, who was cursed with leprosy for having solicited money from Naaman. Right? So, you see these different things, and they showing you about the skin, but also the hair in the scriptures was a denotation that you was lepers. If it had turned white, but not like old age, it was just like in a spot, white, like you were talking about, in the beard and stuff like that, you had a type of leprosy. And if there was still black hair growing there and stuff like that, okay, that wasn't leprosy. You was an old man. All right. So like the brother Samuel, he got the white hair, right? But then underneath, on the short part of it, closer to the skin, it's black still, right? That's because that's not leprosy. That's the whore hairs, as they call them in the scriptures, right? You're supposed to respect that. That comes with age, all right? But that leprosy that comes where it's your whole hair done turned white in like a patch, like you just in the middle of your black hair, you just got a white patch or something like that. That's a breaking out of what was called leprosy back then, all right? And it's a loss of melanin in that hair or in the skin. What's that?
I've had gray hair since I was 7.
Yeah, that's gray hair.
My head is like pretty much gray. Then now I got like 2 or 3 of them like in my beard.
Yeah, but like I said in that part, when you read up where we were, is where is it at? It said
25 or 24.
It was about the hair.
25. Verse 25. Leviticus chapter 13, verse 25. Then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the hair in the bright spot be turned white, and it be in sight deeper than the skin, it is a leprosy broken out of the burning.
Right.
Wherefore the priest shall pronounce him unclean.
Right. So that's if the whole hair was white all the way down, and there was a spot in the skin. That's a leprosy. Right. But read on.
It is the plague of leprosy.
Go ahead.
But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hair in the bright spot, and it be no lower than the other skin.
No, that wasn't it. It was dang it, man, I was right there on it. I mean, you can read the whole chapter of this of 13, and it'll show you about different types of leprosy. Just for the question online. Dang, I thought I must have misread it. I'm tripping. Yeah, no, but again, you got it where it's like it looks like it's salt and pepper, right? That ain't leprosy. You just got gray hairs. You understand? So that's the thing is, when you look at this, usually you'll see it, man. You see a cat that have a whole head of nice black hair, and then they just have a patch where it's just white. It's just like grow like a white skunk stripe looking thing, or just a spot, right? That's a leprosy. All right, and some of those are clean, and some of those are unclean leprosies. All right, and in all of Leviticus 13 is going to show you how to denote whether that's a clean or unclean leprosy. Let's see what else we got.
Quick question on that.
Yeah.
So if it's unclean, that means it can spread. It can spread from people to people.
If it's unclean, it means that it could turn into like sores, that like you scratch them, they start bleeding. They turn into skin ulcers or something like that, and that makes them unclean because they ooze or they bleed. What's that?
Isn't it just like vitiligo? There's a lot of people that have patches on their like skin.
Yeah.
I've seen somebody, and then like you would see them like say a month or so later, it starts like their face or like where that spot was, like that whole like arm is like that.
Yeah, vitiligo is a type of leprosy. There was many different types when you read in the scriptures, and nowadays they try to make it it's when your skin bumps up, when you got all these big giant bumps all over you and all this. But back then, no, it was a discoloration. It was a loss of pigmentation. And even up until recently, like if you go grab those signs back there, if you look through those signs that we usually take for street speaking, in there you'll see one by Professor Arnold Ehretz, and then there's another one that show you about leprosy and give you the definition of leprosy in the older dictionaries. That's why we ask for older dictionaries, because they change them up because they're like, ooh, that's us. We gotta erase that. We gotta get that out of there, because We told on ourselves. These niggas can read now. You see that? So now they show you, oh, it just bumps. If you got bumps all over you, well, that means okay. You got you know razor bumps, right? Or you leprous. Technically, yes, you are. You understand? When you get you're a barber, you know about it. When the cats come in and you done shaved them and everything, then they come back and they bumped up. Well, that's why the Most High said don't shave. See that? Yeah, but that's a type of leprosy. See that? But that's the one Esau want to go with because the other type of leprosy, like the Bible describes, shows you that they're lepers. You see that? But yeah, let me know if you find that sign, and we'll be able to show them online. But yeah, vitiligo is a type of leprosy. Esau puts a lot of different names on these things now, so that it doesn't trace back to them. So you don't look it up and be like, wait a minute, leprosy was y'all. You see that? Yeah, there ain't no vitiligo. They turn it into y'all. They turn it into a cursed person like you, right? Yeah, so they don't want you to train it, trace it back to them. We got. I'm new to this truth. What time does the Sabbath begin and end? Very good question. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 1. And we'll see how we denote days, how we tell what days are when the day starts and when it ends. I'm sorry, Genesis chapter 1. I didn't tell y'all the verse. Genesis chapter 1, and we're going to go to, let's see, verse 8. Wait, hold on. Let's see. No, you started verse 5. There we go.
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day.
There you go. So the evening and the morning was the first day. So your day starts at evening. When the sun goes down is technically when the day starts. And then all that next day, all right, the light time, that's a day. And then when the sun goes down again, that's a completion of one day. All right, so it starts in the evening and it ends in the evening. That's when a day begins and ends. All right, now we're going to go to chapter 2. Let's see. Is it 2? Not true. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is, right at the beginning. Yeah, 2 and 2, yeah.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 2.
Start at 1.
Genesis chapter 2 verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished.
It's a sign that just says leprosy. It says leprosy and it gives you the definition. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 2 verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them.
Right.
And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
Right. So from at that sixth day at evening, he saw that all the work was done, and that's when he rested at evening. You see that? The evening was the seventh day. All right. So it said he blessed the seventh day and he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he made, and the Most High blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. He set it apart as holy. That's what it means to sanctify. He cleansed that day. Go ahead.
And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
Right, because that's the day when he rested. So we commemorate that day throughout our generations. As we go to Exodus chapter 20, we're going to see that. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
So that evening, that sixth day, when it becomes evening, that's starting the seventh day, right? So remember that day to keep it holy. Remember, hey, this is the time when the Most High rested. He finished all his work that he did. You see that? So he rested on this day. So we're going to remember that day to keep it holy, keep it sanctified, just like he had sanctified it from the beginning. All right? So I'm going to keep myself clean on that day. Go ahead.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
Right.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
Uh-huh.
In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Go ahead.
For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day.
See, that's why we do it. That's why it's on the seventh day, because that's when he rested. All right? He made all the things on the earth, and then he rested on the seventh day. Go ahead.
Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
There you go. All right? So hopefully that helps you out on there. What else we got? Alright, so that was for one nails one. Joel 3 verse 6. Why does it say Grecians instead of Edomites? I mean, that's how they wrote it. When we know that the Grecians, we were sold to the Grecians when we go to when you go to the book of Maccabees. That's why you need these apocryphals. A lot of cats want to say, "Oh, the apocrypha wasn't in there." The apocrypha was in there for one. Two, it gives a lot of history about the Greek Empire that you don't get in the scriptures. The Bible don't have a lot of that history about the Greek Empire. Daniel prophesies about it, right? You got a lot of these different prophets that teach about what happened with the Greek Empire, but you don't get that until you get this book, till you get in the Apocrypha, and find out what was going on in our Greek, in the Greek Empire, and the Greek captivity. And that's what we read the other day when we were in Maccabees, right? Because when you read Joel chapter 3 and verse, I think he brought out 3 verse 6, right? That you sold them unto the Grecians. Let's go there real quick. Let's get the scripture he pulled real quick.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 6.
All right.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians.
See, so so he's talking about for behold the days come, those days that also gather all nations, right? And they have cast lots for my people, right? Yeah, what have I to do to? Yeah, when you start at verse 4, and yea, what have I to do with thee? What have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? Now, Tyre and Zidon, these are African nations. So he's talking to the Hamites, all right? The Hamites, the Cushites, all right? The ancient Babylonians became the Hamites, the Cushites, you know them today as the Ethiopians, and certain parts of Africa, all right? So he's telling them, what do you got to do with me? You ain't got nothing to do with me, all right? He said, in all the coasts of Palestine, he said, talking about the Palestinians, the ancient Arabs, all right? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? He said, because you have, so you talking about the Africans, the Arabs, right? Because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. Talking about us and the things of the temple. They took us. He said, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you, the Africans and Arabs, sold unto the Grecians, the so-called white man. All right? Because at the time, they were selling us to the Greeks. All right? They were selling us to the Greeks that you read about in the book of Maccabees. All right? After they took over, after the Greek overthrow of Israel in 333 BC under Alexander the Great. All right. So you can write that down in your notes. If you go do your research, 333 BC, sometimes they'll put it as 332 or 331. All right, but around from 331 to 333 BC is where you're dealing with the Greek Empire coming into power, and they took over Israel, and we were under Greek captivity. All right, and you don't really read nothing about that because you go from Malachi to 430 years later, Christ. Roman captivity. You see that? So on Malachi, we were under the, let's see, I think what was the last one we were under? I think that was the Persian and Mede Empire, right? And then the Greeks took over from the Persians and Mede Empire. All right? They overthrew the Persians and Medes. Alexander the Great beat the Persians and Medes. All right? He beat King Darius and Cyrus and all that. He beat Darius. All right, they called him Darius in the movie. We call him Darius. All right, he beat them and took over the captivities that they had, that the Persians and Mede had. One of the captivities they had was us. They had Israel as a captive, so they took that over and governed over us. And you don't read nothing about that until when you get in the New Testament. You read that we're doing all these things and hanging out with these Grecians and Greeks and Hellenists and we're all these things. Well, where did that come from? You don't read it in the scripture. But you read it when you're in the book of Maccabees and the Apocrypha. All right? When you find out that Alexander the Great, especially you start First Maccabees chapter 1. Yeah, you read about Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian. All right, so you read about him, and then he comes up, takes over all the whole known world in under 12 years. That's what you read in history. And you read how he parts that off to his 4 generals, Lysimachus, Seleucus, what's the other guy? Seleucus, Lysimachus. Man, I'm losing the names now. I gotta get my little list. It's been a long time. We gotta go over them histories too. We gotta go over those histories because I'm losing out of my brain. All right, but he gave them off to his 4 generals, and they took over those kingdoms. But all that ain't covered in the scriptures. It's not. You don't see it, and then by the time you get to the New Testament, we're in the Roman Empire, which is 27 A.D. Y'all see that? We after Christ, when they came into full power. They came into power in 227 BC, right? But then they came into full power in 27 AD. Well, you ain't getting none of that. You ain't getting that transitional period from the Persian and Mede to the Romans. Persians and Medes to the Romans. You getting Persians and Medes, and then boom, Romans. Well, where the Greeks at? Apocrypha. All right, but you got niggas trying to tell you that that don't belong in there. Well, it don't belong in there because Esau don't want you to see the transition. They don't want you to see where they came from and how they took over and how they came into power. And they don't want you to see how that the Greeks were into all kinds of matters of filthiness, man. Okay. And they put that on us. Y'all see that? Okay. All right. So when you read in the Apocrypha, it talks about. They sold it, when you read in the scripture in Joel, it said you have sold them to the Grecians. Well, you got to read about the Grecians, the Greeks, in the book of Maccabees, and you'll find out this is the rise of the so-called white man. This is when they came back, when they started coming into power, and they started changing their name from Idumeans to whatever nation they would conquer. All right. So when you look in the origins of these places, Greece wasn't originally called Greece. All right, the people of Javan lived there. They were a dark-skinned people, and the Greeks came in and conquered them. And they were known at first as Macedonians, right? But then they changed their name and became the Greeks. And they were known before as Idumeans. They went back to being called Idumeans on the low when you get into the New Testament. Got it. But that was because when they switched over from the Greek to the Roman Empire, right? So as they started warring with each other, we're gonna go through those when we start breaking down like Esdras, we're gonna go through that in depth. All right. We start breaking down books like Esdras 15, Esdras I think it's chapters 13 through 15. When we start breaking those down, when we start breaking down books in Revelations, you're gonna start getting that history. All right, we're gonna have to go through those because y'all need that. Y'all need that history to be shown why these people was being called Grecians. Why it doesn't say Edomites, because he wasn't right there pinpointing that we were sold to the Edomite Empire. At that time, they was calling themselves Grecians. So he wanted to pinpoint and identify for you, because when you read in the, that's the main reason. When as I'm thinking about it, when you read in the Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary, if you look up Edomites or Idumeans, it tells you that they don't use that name. They stopped using that name at a certain point. So let me get that for you real quick. So if he would have said, hey, you sold them to the Edomites, a lot of brothers and sisters wouldn't know what they was talking about. Let me get that for you. We did this, we looked this up a little while back on class 2. So you got Edomites, right? The nation and its people who were the descendants of Esau. And when I go over here, it's on the right-hand side in this one. Right-hand side of the left page. It says the Edomites were also subject to Babylon under the Persian Empire. Edom became a province called Idumea, the Greek form of Edom. See that? In 325 BC, an Arab tribe known as the Nabateans conquered the eastern part of Edom's territory. In Maccabean times, so where you read about Maccabean times at? In the Apocrypha. It ain't in the Bible, right? So in Maccabean times, John Hyrcanus, who was an actual historical figure, subdued the Idumeans and forced them to accept Judaism. Y'all see that? So now you got, if he would have said the Edomites, well, these might be the Jewish ones. See that? No, he's showing you pinpoint accurate. These ain't the ones you sold them to weren't the ones that converted to Judaism. All right, you didn't sell them to the converts. You made sure you sold them to the beastly ones, the ones that had no morals and no understanding. You sold them to the Grecians. The Grecians, who was headed by Alexander the Great, who had sex with his own horse, Drusillus, and died of a mysterious disease that rhymes with Drusillus. Think about it. All right. Let's see. What else did he say? He said, when the Romans took over Palestine, the Edomites also were included. So when the Romans took over, they took over the Edomites too. From Idumea came Antipater, the father of Herod the Great. He became procurator of Judah. After the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 AD, the Idumeans disappeared from history. Y'all see that? Why? Because they kept changing their name, man. That's why, Christ was pinpointing them. He said that old go tell that red fox, Herod. Right? I think it was Christ or John the Baptist was calling him a red fox because he was showing you his skin tone, man. That redneck, go tell Herod the redneck that I'm coming. Y'all see that? So these are the things where we got to know that why did he say when he would go in the Joel 3 and 6, why did he say you sold them to the Grecians? Because he didn't want you to confuse them with the ones that became Jewish. He didn't want you to confuse who we got sold to with the Jewish people that we converted. No, I want you to know that you got sold to the most beastly people ever, the Grecians, the Greek tribe of the Idumeans. Y'all see that? So whatever he calls them, sometimes you see him called T-Man. Sometimes you see him called what's the other one, man?
Dedan.
Huh?
Dedan.
Is it Dedan? It might be that one. I think that's one of them. But you'll see them called by their different names, right? Their different tribe names sometimes. One of them's T-Man, another one's, it's one of the ones in Genesis 36, but and you'll see them as Greeks, Grecians, Romans, things like that. They all had different tribe names, and then they kept changing their names to escape their own wicked, nasty history. All right? They do it to this day. If you look up the word Caucasoid, it says no longer in common use. Right? But when you get that dictionary excerpt that the brother had pulled up at first, it said Caucasoid, a subspecies of humankind. Oh, we gotta erase that. Niggas know how to read now. They gonna know we ain't humans. They gonna think we ain't humans. Y'all see that? They gonna know we a subspecies of humankind. So they had to get rid of that. All right, what's that?
They said someone was calling them like Neanderthals or something, like they had made it with Neanderthals or something. That's how so-called came back.
Yeah, man, but this, and I understand where people coming from when they say that, Esau got 99-point-something% Neanderthal DNA. Who taught you about Neanderthals? Right. Who taught you that the Neanderthal comes from what I was talking about the other day with the theory of evolution, where they think that you came from monkeys and then midway you turn into a caveman and then you turn into a human being that knew how to use a computer. You understand? Those are all three different types of species. You understand? But we know Esau used to dwell in them caves, so when they write about that, they write about themselves. We know they was red and hairy all over. But was there ever that Neanderthal or was it Neanderthal or the one that is just all hair and is nah, we know where they came from, man. Y'all see that? Them niggas was speaking Hebrew just like us, but they was dwelling with the Horites up in the caves and carving they houses into the sides of the mountains with the Horites for a long period of time. Then they came down into the plains, started wiping brothers out, and then they went right back into their caves and started dwelling in, when John Hyrcanus chased them off into the mountains. He chased them off up into the Black and Caspian Sea, and they were dwelling between the Black and Caspian Sea in Georgia, Russia, in the Caucasus Mountains. So the mountains were called Caucasus Mountains. They took on the name Caucasians. Y'all see that? So they kept changing their name, right? But all it did was keep helping them escape that curse. Because if you was to look them up and be like, oh, Edomites, Esau, oh, y'all the niggas that like to eat, y'all been eating y'all meat red like that. Y'all been red and hairy all over. The Bible talk about y'all. I gotta stay away from you like you got the plague. Y'all see that? We want to still be able to fit in. Let's bury that history. Right? What's that?
That kind of, I knew like the white people was Esau because like the word how they say, like to make their habitation high. You notice every building or every, like when they make townhouses or what they call luxury living, you gotta be way up high in the sky. Yeah, look at it. Come on, look downtown. That's all them. We don't build like that. We build our places 3 stories high, man. They want to build their stuff where they birds, where they able to kiss the birds and everything. You know what I mean? Hey, we don't do that. That don't make no damn sense. But look at what happened with 9/11. Yeah. Now, if that building was 3 stories high, then people might have lived. But they want to build that thing all the way up, literally calling it a skyscraper. Right? So that means if the bottom 20 floors catch fire, where are you going to jump from? The sky. How many people live jumping out of the sky? What's that?
You know, remember what you were saying about the, there's people that say they don't believe this apocrypha is part of the Bible or part of the Bible. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at this, it says the apocrypha translated out of the original tongues and with the former translations diligently compared and revised by His Majesty's special command, appointed to be read in churches.
Bro, I couldn't tell you the amount of faith shaking niggas that I talk to that they let Esau tell them something and they run with it, and it'll be so. You know, they pulled these other books that King James wrote where he denounced the Apocrypha.
Right.
I said, well, then why the hell did he put it in the Bible?
That's right.
Why in 1611 did he go ahead and authorize it and leave it in the Bible?
Right.
It wasn't taken out the Bible until 1864. So what was the problem? Y'all see that? Coincidentally, 1864 was when what? The Emancipation Proclamation got signed?
Wow.
Oh, now we got to take it out for these niggas find out where they came from. How they got here. If you think it ain't a conspiracy, man, it ain't a coincidence, right? That the same time frame they decided to take our history out of the Bible was when they freed us. Y'all see that? When niggas started really learning how to read on a worldwide scale, then it was, let's remove this. Let's make this a separate book. We let them start reading the Bible, but let's take this one out. Then when you get the book that has it in there, you got to get what? The Oxford edition that they try to only circulate in the colleges. See that? Why? Because they know niggas can't afford to go to college. What's that?
You know what? That's so true. And anybody that got common sense will believe that what you just said. I don't mean just common sense. Because out of all the books in this Bible, why would you take that out?
Yeah.
It had to be something to. I mean, out of all the choices you got to take out, you pick this.
Yeah.
So that right there tells you something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you look through the Apocrypha, man, when you just go to the book of Ecclesiastes, right? You look at the whole chapter of 26. Tell you how to deal with your woman, how to pick out a woman.
Right.
So you see why the powers that be wanted to take it out. They didn't want niggas to know how to deal with, how to get the right kind of woman. And then what do they push to you? Oh, fat booty, big breasts. As long as she got that, she's in. Right. But if you use this checklist, you would just end up on child support. You know what I mean? Your ass wouldn't end up on government cheese while you paying out child support. You see that? You wouldn't be over there trying to get like 9 jobs to pay for some woman that just got knocked up and decided she was going to leave you and take half your money. Do it the easy way and run off with the mailman or something. Right. Y'all see that? Because you would have been through this checklist. You'd have been like, damn, the whorishness of the woman may be known in her eyelids? Damn. You mean instead of looking at her booty, I could just look at her face and know she a whore? Oh yeah, let's take this out before niggas become civilized. Let's make them run around like animals. See that? So I can't figure out why niggas want to say that there ain't that this book don't belong in the Bible. When you read it, it got all this wisdom. Like, what could be possibly wrong with this scripture? If thou blow the spark, it shall burn. If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched. And both these come out of thy mouth. See that? Curse the whisperer and the double tongue, for such have destroyed many that were at peace. Why would you want to take that out of the Bible? That's teaching you how to keep a city in order. It's teaching you how to keep your circle in order. See that? But they took that out, and what they do, they retranslate, they reword it, and then Niccolo Machiavelli all of a sudden give you a book that's saying the same type of stuff, man. And teach you how to order your armies and order your cities and everything like that. But what's that make niggas do? Oh, you haven't read Machiavelli? Oh, you're not cultured. Well, you giving all this praise to Machiavelli, you could have read it right there in the Bible, written by a black man that looked like you. But now you reading it, getting it by the dude that a homosexual, man. Niccolo Machiavelli was writing about the things that Cesare Borgia did. Cesare Borgia is the man they painted Christ after. Y'all see that? But he was implementing what you're reading right here in the scriptures. These cats being Catholics, the Catholics kept this in their Bibles. They were reading all that and getting all that wisdom out of this. Machiavelli got all that wisdom out of this. But they hide it from you until you go read Machiavelli. Y'all see that? It's nuts, man. What else we got on here? Could you explain? Could you give some more light on Nahum chapter 1 verse 10 through 11? Let me know when y'all got it. It's after Micah,
Nahum.
before Zephaniah.
What chapter?
Nahum chapter 1 verse 10 and 11.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 10.
Come.
Y'all got it?
Come.
All right. Go ahead.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 10. For while they be folded together as thorns, and while they are drunken as drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. There is one come out of thee that imagineth evil against the Lord, a wicked counselor.
Well, let's see who he's talking about. Read verse 1.
Verse 1, Nahum chapter 1 verse 1. The burden of Nineveh.
Nineveh.
Of Nineveh.
Right? So he's talking to Nineveh. All right? The place that the Most High sent Jonah off to. Told him to go talk to the people of Nineveh. Right? And for a time they repented in sackcloth and ashes, and they got right and fasted. Right? And they went ahead and got right with the Most High, and he didn't destroy them. That's what Jonah was told to go and minister to them, right?
Okay.
But now this message is coming to Nineveh. When it says the burden of Nineveh, it's talking about the message that's going to be going to Nineveh. It says the book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite. The Most High is jealous, and the Most High revengeth. The Most High revengeth and is furious. The Most High will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. So he's going through and showing you. This was directed at the people of Nineveh. All right, they were a great city. They were descended from the people of Babylon. All right, okay. They were descended from Nimrod and all that. So these are a Babylonian city, Africans. All right, so they were a great city, and he's saying, listen, while you be folding together as thorns, right? While y'all hanging together real tight. And while they are drunken as drunkards, and y'all partying it up and living it up, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. You're going to burn up like dry kindling, man. He said he's telling them, I'm going to burn you up. All right?
Got it.
He said, there is one come out of thee that imagineth evil against the Most High, a wicked counselor. All right? So, you got to look at these things that you're reading and see, well, these are one of the people that, when you read Psalms 83, these are the enemies of the Most High. Right?
Got it.
When you read Psalms 83, let's go there real quick. Start at verse 1. These nations were the enemies of the Most High.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 1.
Come.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 1.
Y'all got it?
Come.
All right.
Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Thy what?
Thine enemies make a tumult.
Right. His enemies is the one making trouble in the earth. All right, go ahead.
And they that hate thee have lifted up their head.
Uh-huh.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have done what?
Taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They took that crafty counsel. That's why he said one of y'all done came up and y'all, he's a wicked counselor. Y'all see that?
Right.
Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And y'all decided y'all was going to consult against my hidden ones. The Israelites were hidden after David was prophesying, and he was saying that Israel was going to be hidden. Y'all see that?
Okay.
And these nations was going to consult against us. Go ahead.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
There you go. Go ahead.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Right.
The tabernacles of Edom.
Edom, go ahead.
And
So
the
the so-called white man, go ahead.
And the Ishmaelites.
The Arabs, go ahead.
Of Moab.
Uh-huh.
And the Hagarenes.
Right. So these were our ancient enemies, the Moabites and the Hagarenes. Go ahead.
Gebal.
Uh-huh.
And Ammon.
Right.
And Amalek.
Right. The Amalekites, our ancient enemies who sprung back up and became the so-called Jews. They try to tell you they Ashkenaz. I got a book tell you they only claim that they were Ashkenazi because the people they took over in the land that they went to were Ashkenaz. The black people they took over when they went into Russia, they took them over and said their chief named Joseph said that they were descendants of Ashkenaz. He claimed it. They were not actual Ashkenazi Jews. All right, they're Amalekites that took on the Jewish traditions. All right. So you got the children of Edom and Amalek. So that's another name for them. Go ahead.
The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre.
These are both African nations now. All right. The Philistines, the people of Tyre, they all sprung from Ham. All right. They all come from Ham. We got three manner of people on the earth: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right, these people came from Ham. These were our enemies. Read on.
Asher also is joined with them.
So Asher is joined with them. Go ahead.
They have hope. They have hope in the children of Lot.
And they helped the children of Lot, the Moabites and the Ammonites. All right. Go ahead.
Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kisan.
Right, so he's showing you all these different nations that was against us and the Most High destroyed them. All right? So you got the Midianites. Those were children of Abraham by Keturah, right? Moses' wife was a Midianite. But at a certain point, they left off of the ways of Abraham. He said, destroy them. The Ishmaelites, children of Abraham, right? They left off of the ways of Abraham. He said, destroy them too. Y'all see that? So it don't matter if you're children of Abraham, if you're children of whatever. If you ain't an Israelite and you ain't following the ways of the Most High in Christ, He wants destruction on you. All right? But out of these nations, he's talking about these different African nations. Now you got Tyre, you got Zidon, you got the Philistines, right? These nations end up having name changes also and undergoing tribal conflicts and things like that. And so by the time you get to the book of Nahum, and you're dealing with the people of Nineveh, you find out that the people of Nineveh are descended from these nations that he's speaking about all the way back in David's time. All right? Too far. Let's see. All right, so he's telling them he basically wants to burn up the people of Nineveh. There is one to come out of that imagined evil against the Most High, a wicked counsel. That's their whole nation. Basically, their leaders do that. All right. See that? Nineveh, one of the most ancient cities of the world, founded by Nimrod. Y'all see that?
God.
So this is a city founded by Nimrod. These are Babylonians. All right. Huh. Oh, they actually found it too. That's good. What else we got? Let's see. Psalms 1 verse 1. Can you explain Psalms 1 verse 1? Oh dang, we done went an hour and a half. That time keep flying, man. I be want to go in these classes, but the time be flying on these questions, man.
Psalms chapter 1, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Right. So a man's blessed if he doesn't what?
Standeth in the way of sinners.
If you don't hang out with sinners, you'll be blessed. All right. Not standing in the way of them, like you stand in their way. Please excuse me, you in the way. You understand? No, standing in the way, in their paths, in the path of sinners, in the same place as them. All right? If you ain't in their ways, if you don't do their ways. All right? It says, nor what?
It's like, walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
Right? He don't walk after what the ungodly tell him to do. Like you read it, where do you find the counsel of the ungodly? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 in the Apocrypha that they want to take out. Right? So what did the ungodly say? Let me grab this in Wisdom of Solomon 2. Shoot, you started this the whole chapter basically. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves but not aright, our life is short and tedious. So if you walk in that, right? Life is short, play hard. If you walking in that, you're stupid, you're ungodly. You walking in their ways. And in the death of a man there is no remedy, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. Now is that true? No. Right? Elisha brought a man back from the grave, right? They threw a man on Elijah's bones, and he came back from the grave. Christ came back from the grave, and before that, he brought Lazarus back from the grave. So, yeah, there was men known to come back from the grave, but the ungodly don't think like this. Right, but you ain't blessed if you think like the ungodly, because the ungodly think, oh, we just gonna live and die, and that's it. There is no resurrection. There is no reincarnation. There is no Christ going to bring us back and change us in the twinkling of an eye. They don't believe in that. Y'all see that? So you blessed if you don't walk in their ways, man. And like I said, as you go on through chapter 2, he tells you how the ungodly think. So if you don't walk in the counsel of the ungodly, which you find in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, then you're blessed. All right? Go back to Psalms 1:1.
Psalm chapter 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners.
Right, so you ain't walking in the counsel of the ungodly. Well, we found in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, right? And he said, nor stand in the way with sinners. Go ahead.
Nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
And you don't sit in the seat of the scornful. Right? So you don't sit there trying to back talk and yeah, man, them niggas with fringes ain't off, man. You know what I mean? That right there, that makes you a person that is not blessed. All right? The ones that are blessed are the ones that avoid sitting with the scornful. They don't sit there trying to make fun and poke fun at the people that are teaching the truth. All right? Let's see. What else we got? The 144,000 men that will make it to rule, will their entire household be in order, as Timothy 3. I don't know if you want 1st or 2nd Timothy. But let's see. I can tell you this because I already know what the Timothy says. The thing is I can tell you this, that the 144,000, their houses are going to be in order before Christ get here. All right? Those are just the requirements of a deacon and a bishop and things like that. Yeah, you talking about 1 Timothy 3. What's that? Yeah, y'all might have to just move that thing over, because I'm going to keep moving over there. All right. So the 1 Timothy 3 tells you that if you desire the office of a bishop, you know what I mean? You go down to verse 4, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. That happens before Christ gets here. All right? That's what's going to make them of the 144,000. That's one of the attributes that these men are going to have when Christ gets here, is that they're going to have their house in order. They're going to have things set already before Christ got to get here and tell them to put it in order. All right? They're going to have followed the instructions. The 144,000 are going to be those that have already been clothed in righteousness. They've already put this on as a cloak, like the scriptures say. They clothe themselves in righteousness, like a cloak, right? they're already going to have their house in order when he gets it. What else? In St. John 7 verse 51 is Sirach 11 verse 7 through 8, the law Nicodemus spoke of, or is there also another law in the Torah speaking on the same matter? Let's see. St. John 7 verse 51.
St. John chapter 7 and verse 51. Does our Lord judge any man before it hear him and know what he doeth?
Right. No, that's a law from the Old Testament, man. Let's see. You're comparing that to what? Ecclesiastes 11 verse 7 and 8. Let's see. 11 verse 7 and 8. Blame not that before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first and then rebuke. Let's see. Answer not before thou hast heard the cause. Neither interrupt men in the midst of their talk. Right? Okay, so this is in Ecclesiastes is definitely a part of what we of what that scripture is talking about. But that was the law, man. That was the old law. So let me see.
They have a proverb.
That was in Mosaic law actually. When you read when you're reading Deuteronomy and Leviticus and things like that, when you're reading in the law. So the first part, St. John 7 verse 51, does our law judge any man before it hear him and know what he doeth? All right? That's actually going all the way back. Let's see. So let's see, you got Exodus 20. I'm looking at yeah, I don't want that part. I want the whole thing. I'll get that for you real quick. Yeah, Numbers 35, verse 30.
Numbers chapter 35, verse 30. Numbers chapter 35, verse 30.
Y'all got it? All right. Yeah, you got to say calm when y'all got it so we can go ahead and move on.
Verse 30.
Uh-huh.
Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses.
By the mouth of what?
By witnesses.
One witness?
Of witnesses.
Right, so the plural, right?
Good.
Okay, go ahead.
But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die.
See that? So you don't just do it because, oh, we just came up with a matter against this guy. We ain't even heard him speak for himself. Y'all see that?
Go ahead.
Let me see. Where was that? It's another one I'm looking for too, though.
Proverb.
Here we go. So you got Deuteronomy 19. We'll start at 15, but the meat of it is going to be in 16.
Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15.
It's going to be in 16 and 17. But go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin, and any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established.
Right, go ahead.
If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord.
See that? So if there's a controversy that comes up, or a witness is brought up against a man, right, false or otherwise, right, then both those people supposed to stand up before the Most High with the judges, to the judges. All right? Read on.
Before priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. Verse 18. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition.
They shall do what?
Make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and had testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you.
Right. See that? So this is what you're seeing is that if a person had a problem with somebody else, that person and the one they're accusing got to stand before the judges and give their account. All right? And the judges would decide between the two. All right? And if the man had brought a false witness, then whatever had happened to that, was meant to happen to that person, like with Haman, right? When you go in the book of Esther, Haman was like, they need to be killed, and he made gallows for Mordecai. He thought he was going to get to put Mordecai to death and everything, right? Then he brought up all these accusations against the Jews and said they lie and they're against the king and do all this, right? Well, when they found out Hamath was the one that was trying to kill all Esther's people, and Esther had the ear of the king, right? The king was like, well, what should we do with Hamath? Oh, well, there's the gallows outside he was going to kill Mordecai on. Oh, okay, well, hang him up and his family on those. See that? So that justice of the Most High carried out even in the Persian and Mede Empire. Y'all see that? Whatever was meant to happen to that man, when you falsely accused him, was going to happen to you. You see that? But both of you got to tell your side of the story before the judges. See? That's why in where were we at? St. John 7:51? Yeah, in St. John 7:51, the priest was saying, does our law condemn a man before we heard it? No. Because according to the Torah, our law does not condemn a man before you heard him. All right? Let me see. Where's that at? 19, verse what? 15 through...
Verse 15 through 19.
Yeah, I like these questions, man. It's good. What is that? St. John 7, verse 51. All right, so... Also, sir, did the Pharisees overlook Yahweh's father's lineage on purpose? Reading from St. John 7, verse 52. Yes, they did, because at that point, what you have is the problem. Go to Mark 7, verse 7 and verse 6. We're going to read there and find out what was the problem at Christ's time with the Pharisees. All right? Because up until this day, even at the time of the fake Jews, right? The ones that were converted by John Hyrcanus that we talked about, right? In 325 BC. Those fake Jews, to this day, go by the mother's lineage. That's why Drake thinks he's Jewish, because his mama Jewish, right? I think his dad's a real Jew, a Negro, right? And his mom's Jewish. So he consider himself a Jewish, right? And you confused as hell. That's why I said to us, we don't confusion of faces, right? Oh, I'm Jewish. No, you an actual Jew, nigga. You see that? But the fake Jews to this day carry on the custom that your mother determines your lineage. That's why you can go go marry a Jewish woman, and then you gotta raise your kid up as Jewish, or you gotta convert. Right? I know some dude in the mall did that. He was over there talking about he was gonna take some days off because he had to get circumcised to marry his woman. They used to pick her butt in the middle of the mall. Right? To some Edomite chick. Like, dude, you converting over to a fake Jews religion. You converting over to fakeness. She faking the front herself. Y'all see that? But yeah, these things by Christ's time had taken over the commandments of the Most High. When you go all through the Torah, all the lineages in Numbers, right? We went through Numbers over the weekend, right? You can't see why it's important, but it comes to bear. Because in the book of Numbers, all we're reading about is this man's son and this man's son, and this man was the son of this man, and this man was this, right? It's all going through the male lineage. Because again, if I take an apple seed and I go put it in an orange field, I'm going to have an apple tree. You see that? The seed determines the lineage. All right? The seed does that, not the egg. All right? The seed determines the lineage. All right? So read Mark 7, verse 6. Let's find out what was going on at Christ's time.
Excuse me, sir. What was it? Mark 7 and 6?
Mark chapter 7, verse 6. And you're going to read down.
Mark chapter 7 and verse 6. He answered and said unto them, Well had Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, This people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
See that? These people honor me with their lips. They talk a good game. We all about the Bible, right? But their heart is far from the Most High, man. They ain't even thinking like he thinks. He thinks the man determines the lineage, and they went into your mother determines your lineage. You see that? That's why when you get into the book of Luke and they go through the lineage of his mother, it says, as was supposed, the son of so-and-so, right? When you go into Christ's lineage, you're like, why do they get two different lineage? In Matthew, they give one lineage, right? And then in Luke, they give a whole different lineage. Well, they go through the lineage of his mother because that was the custom of the Pharisees. That was the custom of people in that time. All right? So when you deal with Luke, the writer of that book, right, you're dealing with a cat that was dealing with the custom of that time to go through the mother's lineage. So when you deal with Matthew, he was dealing with the custom of the Jews. He was dealing with how we numbered the lineage. All right? Let's see. So, where you at?
St. Mark chapter 7 and verse 7.
Go ahead.
Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
See that? So they teach for doctrine the commandments of men. They doing what men told them to do rather than the commandments of the Most High said to do. Right? Such as taking the lineage of the mother and making that your nationality. Go ahead.
For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do.
Go ahead. So they had taken it like, he was answering their question because it was coming up like, well, why y'all apostles don't wash their hands? Why don't they wash their hands before they eat?
Right.
What law says you gotta wash your hands before you eat? You show me that in the Torah. Show me that in the whole Old Testament. When the Most High come down was like, hey, you didn't wash your hands, bro. Right? That's up there with like what our people like to do. Kiss it up to God, 3-second rule, all these different little things. Those ain't laws. Y'all see that? Those are cliches, and they nasty as hell. Right? Oh, 3-second rule, grab it off the floor, throw it in your mouth. Like, so if it was in the dog doodle for 5 seconds, it's not good. But if it's only in there 3 seconds, you good? Right? You stepped in some dog poop outside, walked all through your house, you know what I mean? With the little crumbs of dog doodle on there, then you drop some food on the floor. So it's okay because it was only there 3 seconds? Because it didn't bathe in it and marinate in it?
Right.
Nah, throw that away. Y'all see that? But so that this is where the Pharisees had got to was like, oh, you didn't wash your hands before you eat. You're unlawful. You're dirty. You're unclean, right?
God.
But that ain't a commandment of the Most High. You wash your hands because it's the right thing to do. It's smart, but it ain't a law.
Right.
Y'all see that?
God.
If we walk around healing people and raising the sick and cleansing lepers, the hell we gotta sit around washing our hands for? We cleaning the unclean. Y'all see that? Obviously me washing my hands ain't gonna change nothing. Y'all see that? If I was gonna get myself sick, I'd be all right. Christ right here.
Right.
But they was on him, hounding him. Why your disciples don't wash their hands? Well, because you doing worse than them. You sit around trying to put them on blast for not washing their hands, but you talk about the washing the cups and doing all this stuff, and that ain't in the law. And then you do it worse than when the law tells you not to do something, you do it anyway. Watch, read on.
And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandments of God, that ye may keep your own tradition.
Hey, what was that Deuteronomy we just went to?
Went to,
Chapter 19,
yeah,
15 through 19.
yeah, 19. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15 through 19.
Got it. All right. Go ahead.
For Moses said, honor thy father and thy mother. Whoso curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, if a man shall say to his father or mother, it is korban, that is to say, a gift.
Right, so we went through that the other day, right? They was talking about his korban, and then we found out that practice of korban was they would contract with the priests and say, okay, well, tell everybody that I went ahead and gifted this to the priesthood. That way I don't got to lend it out or give it out. See that? And they will pay the priest a certain percentage of whatever they said was already gifted to the priesthood. Like, for example, you want to borrow $20,000, but I only got 21,000, and that's all gifted to the priesthood. But all they did was give this wicked, corrupt priest 1,000, and told him to give him a little certificate that said that they had gifted it already. Y'all see that?
Right.
That way, when whoever came and asked, oh, it's already korban, it's already gifted to the priesthood. That's some wicked stuff, man. And they was doing this to their own fathers and mothers. See this?
Right.
Read on.
By whatsoever thou mightest be profited, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me.
Right. See, it's already gifted, so I can't do anything to help to profit you anything. I can't give you anything. You see that? Whatever I could give you, it's already been given over to the priesthood. That's some wicked stuff, man. Go ahead.
He shall be free.
See, but you say if he do that, if he say it's korban, then he's free. He's free from the law of honoring his father and mother. It's insane, man. Go ahead.
And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother.
Right. You don't hold him to the law that says honor your father and his mother. See that?
Right.
But you're gonna sit there and talk about us about washing hands. You're gonna try to hold us to a law that don't even exist. But you breaking the law that does.
Right.
See that? Go ahead.
Making the word of God of none effect through your tradition.
Through your what?
Tradition.
So why were they following Christ's mother's lineage? Because they was making the law of no effect through their traditions. All right?
Right.
But what you were talking about was St. John 7, verse 52. And it said, they answered and said unto him, art thou also of Galilee? Search and look, for out of Galilee arises no prophet. But he was from Galilee. That's true. It doesn't have nothing to do with his father or his mother. That's where he was from. All right?
Right.
So we know he was born in Bethlehem, according to us, according to St. John, or according to Matthew's 1, right? But when you go to 1 verse 22, and when after the child was born, and they found out that Herod was reigning, but then Archelaus, Archelaus started reigning after Herod, and Herod was thinking the same way toward Christ, that he wanted to have him killed. So he, instead of going back to Judea, to Bethlehem where he was born, he went to Galilee. All right, so that's where you got a lot of people, oh yeah, I was born here, but I was raised here. So they still count themselves like, oh yeah, you from New York? Yeah, I'm from New York, but you was born in New Mexico. Yeah, well, I was born there, but I was raised in New York. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, if you was born in New Mexico, that's one thing, but if you lived in New York since the time you was 1.5 years old or 1 year old, you basically from New York. You see that? So that's how we talk now. That's how they talk then. Oh, he's from Galilee. No, he was raised in Galilee. We know he was born in Bethlehem of Judea, but he was from Galilee. He was raised up in Galilee. All right? Let's see. Why does it keep giving me weird circle thing? Let me see. So it looked like that's all the questions, man. Y'all been studying real in depth, man. I'm glad. I'm glad it gave me some more notes to put in there, man, and some more little things to connect. And again, if you want to go more in depth on any of these questions at any time, just let us know. We can make a whole class out of these. Let's see. Do we have to pay tithes? Tithe was yes, you do have to pay tithes. And I'm gonna tell you why. Is it I think it's Galatians 4. Yeah, it's Galatians 4. Hold Galatians 4. And we're going to start with Abraham, then with Melchizedek. You got it? Genesis what?
Genesis chapter 14, verse 18.
Right. I was almost there.
Genesis chapter 14, verse 18. And
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, 17.
Got it. Genesis chapter 14, verse 17.
Hold on. Yep. Start at 14. 14, I'm sorry.
Genesis chapter 14, verse 14. When Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot and his goods.
Right, so when you read that story, he took over 4 different kings. In verse 9, you've got 4 different kings that it came against Abraham. Abraham went ahead and wiped them out with 318 men. All right? So he wiped these men out. He took all their goods, took everything they had in their cities. All right? And he made that part of his riches. All right? Read on.
And the woman also, and the people.
So he took the women, he took the people, right? All these became parts of the house of Abraham. While we talk about, who's an Israelite and who's not, guess what? All these people was joined to us throughout Abraham's lineage. All right? Abraham's the king. He dies. His son gets what he got. So all these people, all these servants, all these people that he made servants, they dwelt with his son, Isaac. Okay, well, when Isaac passed, who got the inheritance? Jacob. Right? Got it from his brother Esau. He got all those things. All right? He was supposed to anyway, but that didn't happen. Esau chased him away. He had made his own kingdom anyway, but he ended up getting that later on in life. All right? But then that goes down to his next sons. All right? So all this was passed down. All these different nations, all that was integrated with Israel. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 17. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer.
Mm-hmm.
And the kings that were with him at the valley of Shavah, which is the king's dale, and Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the richest priest of the Most High God.
And he was the priest of the Most High God, right? So Melchizedek came to meet Abraham with these other kings, with the king of Sodom and Gomorrah, and these other kings that Abraham had rescued, all right, with his nephew Lot. He rescued these kings from these other 4 nations that had whooped them. All right? Read on.
Verse 19. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth.
Right.
And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies.
So Melchizedek gave Abraham a blessing, just like the priests were entitled to do for Israel, right? They were able to bless people. All right? So Melchizedek is blessing Abraham. Go ahead.
Possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand.
Go ahead.
And he gave him tithes of all.
And Abraham gave him tithes of everything he had got. So he gave him tithes. So, yes, it was dropped in the Mosaic law what the tithes were going to be. Right? But we know the law was a stepping stone to getting to righteousness as what Abraham possessed before the law. Y'all see that?
God.
Abraham already had it in him to go ahead and make sure he paid 10% to the Most High. Y'all see that?
God.
So he saw that this man was a priest of the Most High. Why? Because the Sodomites weren't blessing him in the name of the Most High. Right? These other nations hadn't blessed him in the name of the Most High, but this man did. So he knew, okay, this man's of the Most High. Let me give him tithes. This is a priest of the Most High I'm dealing with. Because ain't nobody else of these nations blessing me in the name of the Most High. So let me go ahead and, for that blessing, I'm going to give that 10%. Y'all see that?
God.
So it said he gave him tithes of all. Moses later on, the Most High through Moses, gave you what the tithe was going to be, the mandatory tithe of 10%. All right? 10% of your increase. All right? But when you read here, we're seeing how Abraham dealt before the law. It said, and the king of Sodom said unto Abram, give me the... Okay, so we seen there that Abraham paid tithes, right? Now we're going to go to Galatians 4. And see what type of people we trying to be.
God.
Let me get it real quick. Start at verse 22. Galatians 4, verse 22.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 22. For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, the one by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by promise. Verse 24.
See that? So Abraham had 2 sons. He had the one by the free woman, Sarah, right?
God.
He had Isaac by Sarah, or Sarai, as he would say it in Hebrew. Go ahead. And then he had another son by by Hagar, which was his son Ishmael, who was the father of the Arabs. All right?
God.
So he had these 2 sons, both children of Abraham, right?
God.
Go ahead.
Which things are an
Allegory. Mm-hmm. They're an allegory. They're a likeness of something. They're trying to show you something. Go ahead.
For these are the 2 covenants.
These are 2 different covenants. Go ahead.
The one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth to bondage.
Okay. Go ahead.
Which is Agar.
Right. So the one that generated to bondage comes from Hagar. Comes from Ishmael, man. When you deal with that Muslim religion, you end up being in bondage. You understand?
Right.
Go ahead.
For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia.
In Arabia. Y'all see that? You know, be speaking Arabic. Niggas want to run around speaking Arabic, feeling cultured. Right? You're in bondage. All right? Go ahead.
And answer it to Jerusalem.
Right? And that answers to us. Y'all see that? That's why all through the Quran it tells you, remember the children of Israel, how I bestowed my favor upon them, and this and that, and you should listen to the children of Israel. All through the Quran. Right? And I got the scriptures if you want. Go ahead.
Which now is and is in bondage with her children.
See that? Which now is and is in bondage with her children. So he's still talking about this. The people of Arabia is in bondage with her children. Go ahead.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free.
See? Go ahead.
Which is the mother of us all.
Right.
For it is written, rejoice thou barren that bearest not.
Jump down to 28.
God. Now we brethren.
So Jerusalem's the real motherland, right?
God.
That means that the one that was chosen was not Mount Sinai, Hagar, right? It was Jerusalem, the city of the Israelites. Isaac. Go ahead.
Now we brethren, as Isaac was, are the children of promise.
Wait a minute. So we the children of Isaac. We the children of the promise. The promise from who? Abraham. The promise the Most High made to Abraham. That's what we the children of. We not the children of Ishmael. We not the children of necessarily even the law of Moses. We the children of righteousness, man. Now there is righteousness and then there's the law. The law is that step right before you go to righteousness. Y'all see that? It's the elevator that brings you up to righteousness, if you want to think of it like that. You do have to follow the law so that that's clear. I don't want nobody misquoting me like y'all do Paul. All right? Everybody misquote Paul and think that they don't get what he's saying. So, Paul was doing away with the law. No, Paul was showing you point blank the law is an elevator to take you up to righteousness. Y'all see that? You can't get no other way to righteousness from where you are in the pit of hell where you are, right? Unless you start with the law first, man. It's that elevator to bring you up to that level. Because righteousness, it's initiative. It's initiative to do right. Like the scriptures say, he that doeth righteousness is righteous. So why am I bringing that out? Because you asked, should we pay tithes? Well, Abraham paid tithes, right? My daddy Abraham paid tithes, so I'm going to pay tithes, right? That's how we do it. All right? Before Moses had to come down and give wicked niggas a law and say, pay tithes. Your tithe is going to be 10%, and it's going to be of the fruits of your field, and it's going to be of the fruits of your crops, right? Before that, Abraham paid tithes of everything that he had, gold, garments, land, everything. Y'all see that? And then again, when you go into the book of Acts, when you go into Acts chapter 5, you find out that these cats was giving everything that they had over to the apostles to divide it evenly amongst the brothers that were there in the church. Y'all see that? All right, so yeah, you do have to pay tithes, man, if you want to be righteous. If not, you follow the Mosaic law to the letter like a Pharisee, and you say, oh, what it says of my crops and my fruits of my trees, I ain't got none of that, so I ain't got to give nothing. Ha! Gotcha. No, you got yourself. Because what are you giving to the Most High? For all the blessings he's bestowed upon you. Because when Abraham got a blessing, he was like, oh, I got to pay tithes for that, man. I got to get 10% to that, man. He blessed me. See that? When you get your blessing, what do? Boop. 100% in your pocket, right? Boop. Let me give it all to the bill collector. Let me give it to the white man. Let me give it to the tax man. What goes to the Most High? Is your mind toward giving that 10%? That's all Moses asked for. The mandatory that Moses asked for was 10%. That's the very least. All right? Do you give that to the Most High? Or do you give that off to the bill collector?
Most High.
Right? We know. Right? But what did we do in the world? See that? Or what did wicked Israelites do when they come into Israel and find out that Moses said that the tithe was only 10% of your increase of your crops in your fields? Oh, what you want? You want a sheaf of wheat? Okay. You want to be a smart ass? Okay, that's between you and the Most High. You see that? Because Abraham paid tithes of all. That's what we read. That's what we trying to get back to. All right? So let's see. What else we got? I guess that's it on the questions, huh? This keeps happening, man. I take the questions all the way to the last 45 minutes of class, and now I ain't got no time to give my class, man. So if y'all got more questions in class, raise your hand. We'll hit some more of those. We'll just make it a class one. Because last time I tried to cram that deep subject of evolution into that last 40 minutes, that didn't work. All right, so if y'all got questions in here, we'll do that right now. Let's see, good answers because there was only one law that was nailed to the tree. Some of these camps are telling brothers they don't have to, in other words, telling them to break the law. Well, they telling them to break the law of righteousness, not the law of Moses. That's the thing, which is even worse. Because the Most High is not going to come down and see if you checked off the laws as your little personal checklist of what made you righteous. He's going to come down and see, were you righteous? Were those laws in you? Were they in your inward parts? Did you study to show yourself approved to the Most High? See that? Then he's not going to come down and be like, oh, you didn't eat pork? Good, check. Were you a homosexual? Nope. Oh, good. Leviticus 20:13, check. Right? He ain't going to be doing that. He going to be like, why? Why weren't you a homosexual? Because you don't want me to be that. Why did you pay tithes? Because I thought it was right. You blessed me. That's what Abraham did, right? Why didn't you have sex with dogs? That's nasty. You wouldn't want me to do that. I couldn't stand before you after I got duped out by a dog. That just don't sound right. Good answers. See that? That's why he found David a man after his own heart. See that? Why? Because he meditated in the law day and night. How do you do that? It didn't say he read day and night. He meditated on it day and night. How do you do that? He put it in here. He studied, kept it in here all the time and thought about it. And thought about how best he could serve the Most High according to those checklists in his brain. In order to serve the Most High right. See that? Not so he could look like he was lawful. Hey, y'all see my beard, yo? Look at these fringes. He didn't do it like that. He did it out of righteousness. I want to do what's pleasing in the Most High's eyes. All right. What's the name of your group? Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge, otherwise known as ISB HPK. It's on the bottom right hand of your screen, or bottom left hand of your screen. And we're in Houston, San Antonio, and New Mexico. And hopefully soon, Trinidad and Tobago. What else we got? That's it? Any other questions? Let's get it.
Do you like scriptures on dealing with sexual desires? Like some days I'm kind of good, and some days like I feel like I'm going crazy because I've been talking to myself and going back and forth like that's not right, like I'm tripping. And then some days I'm like, you might want to, so I'm like fighting with myself, and I'm doing it out loud, so it's making me feel crazy, but not out loud. Like I can move my hands, talk to myself, like literally like fighting with myself, like. You shouldn't be thinking like that, like we're just really out of character right now. So
No,
I'm like, some days I'm not like that. I'm just like, go for it.
Hey, I hear you. That's a lot of brothers' problem, a lot of sisters' problem. It's a human condition. You understand? Read 1 Corinthians 7 verse 8.
First Corinthians chapter 7, verse 8.
You know what? Read 7.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 7. First Corinthians chapter 7, verse 7. For I would that all men were even as I myself.
Right. So the question is based on sexual desire and basically lust, right? Like where it gets to where it's like, dang, I'm busted over here, right? Okay, so Paul said, listen, I wish every man could be like me. Because all Paul did was focus on the scriptures his whole life. He was a Pharisee, so he was studied, taught under the law with Gamaliel, the Pharisee, the priest, the high priest, and all that. He was taught by him. So all his life, he was in the priesthood, getting trained in the ways of righteousness, being trained in the ways of the law, right? So he said, I wish everybody could be like me. Right? Now, is that even possible?
Not for me.
Yeah, it's not every. Look at the world we were growing up in. A lot of us didn't get the truth. Dudes in our 20s, 30s, right?
God.
Some 40s, right? When'd you get it, sis? Mary? When'd you get it?
Get what?
When you got the truth. When you first started watching and everything.
When I started watching it, it's been so long.
Yeah.
I'm a child.
Yeah. What were you about? 70s, 60s or 70s, right?
When nobody's 60s.
Right. When you got this knowledge, right?
Right.
So all this time, we've been raised all our life with all this, right? All this wickedness and all these ways of the world to deal with. And now we come in the truth and it's like, oh, you can't do that. You see that? We weren't raised like Paul, like where you just raised in the, right? Everybody, they know how to sing the Torah. They're teaching you Hebrew as your first language, right? You ain't learned that. You didn't get the law posted on your door, you didn't even have that. Your grandmama barely opened the Bible that she had on the table, right? She had a big giant Bible put right there on the coffee table and they never opened it. It had one crease. Did y'all ever notice that? I still got my grandma's Bible. I'm like, dang, they got one crease. Y'all see that? All that time she went to church, but where the creases at, man? You see once in a while there'd be like a little piece of paper in there. She jazzed something in there, like a bookmarker or something. She wrote some note, threw it in there. You know what I mean? But it's like, that was a notebook for you. You weren't taking notes on scriptures. You're like, oh, this is Sister So-and-so's phone number that makes the peaches. Threw that in there, right? That was a notebook, man. That was a big, giant folder for our people, man. So we weren't raised around it like Paul, right? But read on.
But every man had this proper gift.
See, but everybody got their proper gift of the Most High. See that? Even if we weren't all raised and trained in the law and the Bible and the scriptures and righteousness and holiness, we still got our gifts that the Most High can use us for. See that we're not worthless, we're not garbage. All right? Go ahead.
One after this manner, and another after that.
Right, he said one after this manner. Some people do it this way, some people do it that way, but it's a gift that the Most High has given them. Right? Some people singers, dancers, writers, whatever. Right? That's their gift. All right, go ahead.
Verse 8. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I.
See, he's saying, listen, it'd be better if you could be a eunuch. Why? Because that means you'll focus. You'd be like, I'm in this book all day, every day. Yeah, I can do this. All right? He wished that everybody could live like him if he was unmarried and all that. It'd be good if you could abide like he did, if you could live like that. But check it out, read.
Verse 9. But if they cannot contain.
See, since Paul wasn't a completely religious bastard, right? He wasn't just like, yeah, you gotta live like this, like I did it. You gotta do the truth the way I do it. If you ain't a Paul, you ain't in the truth. Right? He didn't do that. He knew you was a human being. So, look, I came up this way. It'd be good if you could come up this way because I know the law. I know how it applies to Christ. I could prove Christ in the law. He could knock people out the park with the Bible, right? Because he's been studying it his whole life. Right? But if you can't do it, he understood. Right? Read it again.
Verse 9. But if they cannot contain, let them marry.
See, if you can't contain yourself, get married. Get you a husband. Get you a wife. Y'all see that? That's what he's saying. If you can't do the Matthew 6:33 part, you know, we always tell brothers that, like, they come in here and man, I need me a woman. I gotta get me a woman. You try to get them at EO, they try to work, and they see a girl walk by, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, seek you first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness. But we understand if you need to get you a woman so you ain't over there beating off in front of your computer at night. You see that? So Paul said, if you can't contain, if you can't keep your hands off yourself, if you can't keep yourself from going to some friend you made on Bissonnet, right? Then what?
Let them marry.
Let them marry. Get married. Get you a husband. See that? Go ahead.
For it is better to marry.
Now notice he said get you a husband, or get you, let them marry. Not let them have a one night stand. Not let them get their freak on. Not let them bust one off. Right? He said get married. So what are the steps to marrying somebody? Am I just, hey you, hey, woo, you want to get married? What's up? Like, whoa, what's wrong with you? You alright? You want to get married? What? What's that?
They had some like they were teaching it like different, like when they were saying like get them married. He was meaning like to go. He ain't saying like go like a whole bunch of people, but when they were saying let them marry, what he was to go and have sex. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he's saying you got to engage in the act of marriage as according to the law, man. Meaning when you have whoever that is you pick to have sex with, then that's the person you're with for life. You see that? So get some in-house, what you would call it now, kind of nowadays, right? It gets you something that you gonna stay with for the rest of your life. You understand? That way you can get rid of that temptation and everything, and you're not committing fornication, where you just hopping from one to the other. You see that? So he said, listen, if you can't contain, let them marry. See that? Now what was the laws of marriage? Shoot, marriage, you told the priest, hey, me and this so-and-so is going to get married in this time. And you didn't have sex with that person until that time. And that gave you time to get to know each other and decide whether you want to continue with the whole betrothal. You see that? Now, if you had, then the other part of it, right? That's what the other law was of marriage was, where if a man found a woman in the field, you know what I mean, and he laid hold on her and he lied with her, right? Then he shall surely endow her to be his wife. So that cut out all the one night stand. Now, if it was that way for a man, it was definitely that way for a woman. You know what I mean? If you went out in the field, if you went out in the world and you was like, hey, what's up, man? You know what I mean? He was like, ooh, looking good, sis. What's up? What, you a Muslim or something? Like that, they humble, right? And y'all got it on. Okay, well, that's your husband. You understand?
Right.
And you better tell him so before you open your legs to him. And don't just think with that part of your body. Think with this. Think with this. You see that? Let him know. Hey, listen. If you do this, if we do this, you're gonna be my husband. That's gonna be it. That's how our custom works. Now, if you ain't ready for that, we shouldn't do this. You see that?
Right.
Now, you'll have some cats that's gonna do it, or at least they'll fake it. So you gotta watch out for that. That's why you give them time. You understand? You gotta give them time because some cats, especially in thirsty ass Houston, man, they'll tell you they damn Catholic priests to get it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you a nun? I'm a nun too. What? You can't be a nun. No, you either be a priest or you an altar boy, so you can't be a nun. That's a woman. Oh, yeah, I'm one of them. Right? Down here, them niggas cutting 3 multi-platinum albums. They about to make a video next week. They studying to be priests. And they shot 3 niggas last week. And, right, they give you a whole resume and stuff they ain't never did and touched in their life. Right? I'm holding weight right now. Oh, you about the Bible? Yeah, I got one in my front pocket. Where the crack ain't at. Like, they do whatever they can to impress you. Right? So you gotta watch out for that and put them through the trial. Okay, well, cool. Well, listen, why don't we go on some dates? Oh, did she say plural? Yeah, let's go on some dates. Plural. Let's talk. Let's go for walks. Right? Outside in public. You see that? And get to know each other. I say outside in public because you know what happens when you get to Netflix and chill. You know what I mean? Everybody do that. Oh, no, we just gonna hang out. No, you're not. We know what you're gonna do. Right? Oh, we just kick it? No, you don't. Whenever you do. Huh? Yeah. Like, y'all don't just kick it. Stop. You see that? So what he's I want to stress that because people see that, especially in the truth, brothers see that and they be like, oh, he says he'd rather us marry, so I just find the first chick that lets me marry her. It's like niggas is trying to get their green card, they look for somebody to marry. Right? That's why they do that at INS now. Like, well, how long have you guys been married? Do you have receipts shown? Because back in the day, cats would just marry somebody, take them to INS, get their green card, and then divorce them. You see that? Now they want you to establish a whole, let me see all your records of your relationship. Let me see pictures of you guys walking hand in hand 3-4 years ago. You know what I mean? So I know you didn't just meet up and he paid you some money so he could get legal. Y'all see that? All right, so, you got to watch that. You can't be trying to play the Most High like you play in the INS or something. All right? He'd rather you marry. So once you learn the laws of marriage, now you're going to abide by those too. Right? There's going to be a courtship, a betrothal process. It's not just going to be like we just jumped in the sack and now we married. We've seen plenty of brothers and sisters come and go off of that. All right? You talk to some cat out there in the world and, yeah, I'm a Hebrew Israelite and this and that, and if you ain't really down with that, then you got to kick rocks. And they like, yeah, where you go to school at? Because Hebrew Israelite. I'm with IUIC. Like, nigga, you just Googled that. Right? What's that?
Well, what about our forefather Isaac, like when he had got Rebecca? Of course, we know that Abraham sent a servant to, and told him what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
So, what if sometimes, like, I might sound like kind of old fashioned, whatever, or like they be talking about, but I'm gonna use the word love per se, but you can kind of like know when somebody like for you and you know what I'm saying, like
you can know it, but that's why we try the spirits, whether they are of the Most High.
Right. I'm not saying it's
See that?
disgusting, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm like, you know, because that is a real thing people have where they just know, right? I've been with mine that I just knew 12 years. I know. You know what I mean? The other one 7 years. I just know. You see that?
Like my ex-wife, when I was young, when I first got married, like 19, you know what I'm saying? Before I went to the service, when I went to service or whatever. And like, but before we had got married, like it was kind of like that. It was like that attraction, but we didn't know we were gonna get married or whatever. We ended up, you know what I'm saying, getting married or whatever.
Right.
But it didn't work. But it was a good relationship, you know what I'm saying? Before we had got separated, me and the service.
Right.
So, but the other women who, like, I waited for it, I literally waited, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying, they call her shit was trying to make me wait. It was the devils that waited on, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you waited all that time, just find out they the devil, you know what I'm saying? Cause they seem sweet, you know what I'm saying, everything, then, you know, you do the thing, and after this, like, man, why?
That's why I said that's another reason why you want to hang around with brothers, man. Because there's a way to try people, and it doesn't take years and years and decades. You know what I mean? There's steps to this where the brothers can teach you off of their own experiences and off the scriptures to show you, like, listen, this is how you pick them out. You know what I mean? This is how you examine them. Past the looks, past the first date. Oh, she unlocked the door for me like Bronx Tale. She's in. No, that's not the test, bro. You know what I mean? She might have been trying to lock the door so she could hide her gun or hide her mace that she was gonna use on you later that night, or hide her roofies or whatever. You know what I mean? Or hide herself poking all the holes in the condom y'all was gonna use. You know what I mean? But she accidentally unlocked the door for you, and she the one. She unlocked the door like the movie told me. Right? Yeah. And the next night after your one night stand, she talking about, I'm pregnant with your baby. Like, what? How you know that? You know what I mean? You know, all you got to show for it is a leaky condom. Talking about that. It didn't work. Where'd all them holes come from? That's what she did when she was trying to lock the door on you. Y'all see that? You want to test people out, man. Especially in this day. Remember, Christ said, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. You see that? So you gonna have that problem. I know it don't sound great because you like, but that's gonna take a while before we get to do what I'm trying to do, right? But that's the thing is, even in this case where he says, then I'd rather than marry than to burn. Again, we're human beings. We know. Sometimes, you meet somebody and, that's the one for you. Whatever. Okay, well, cool. Put them through a process quickly then. You know what I mean? Let them know, like, listen, I don't just kiss and do all this stuff on the first dates and stuff like that. We gotta get to know each other. I gotta get to know you, where you from, da-da-da. You gotta at least meet my parents first. You know what I mean? It don't gotta take years, but shoot, put them through a process. Bring them around brothers. Bring them to class. Bring them through a few classes. Watch their reactions. You see that? I mean, you can hold out a couple weeks or so at least. You know what I mean? Like, you just met the cat on the street. Bring him through some classes and let the priest examine. Hey, what you think of him? Get counsel. That's what the scriptures say. Let counsel go before every enterprise. You understand? So, I mean, shoot, that's what I would do if I were you.
A lot of women run away from you. You ain't even gotta open your mouth really, like these days, like, cause they know you in the truth. Like, I can pick up on like some of their spirits, like you can be like, yeah, look at that boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that to her directly, but you know, I be thinking it. They come in, they just look at me some kind of way, like when I'm in the shop, and then I want a modest woman to come in, and I compliment them on their attire, and I do that on purpose in front of the other ones, but without singling them out. But when I comment the woman, I be like, you know what, you look nice today in your modest apparel. I say, that's how women's supposed to dress, you know what I'm saying? I say stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And you see the little demons on the walls, got their little Gucci's on, and, come in there trying to get us really to be.
Yeah, they start sucking their teeth.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right?
Some of them, you don't even have to say nothing to them. They'll just come in there and they just instantly, look at you like, I'm like, yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah.
And I just, keep moving, you know what I'm saying? Or some of them do stuff on purpose just to try to get you to lust after them. And I just think of them like the Black Widow, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know how the Black Widow do the male anyway, that's crucial.
Right.
So, I be like, nah, I don't want that.
Yeah, no, it's all over the place, man. That's all over the earth. But that's the thing is, you supposed to know through the Spirit how to determine if that's going to be the one you deal with.
Right.
You see that? And then on that, you don't just deal with them right away. All right, but read on in that.
Okay, verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 9, second precept. For it is better to marry than to burn.
See, it's better to marry than to burn with lust, burn with that passion. You know what I mean? And just that's all you can think about. You trying to read the scriptures and you over there fidgeting and you know what I mean? It's like, dude, just go get married and shoot. you gonna have some problems. There ain't nothing you thinking holy right now, so you might as well go do that. You see that? But know that when you go do that, that's your husband, that's your wife. You understand? So, with people that, is coming in the class and everything like that, and you've been here long enough, I mean, there's plenty of brothers you could pick out being here. We ain't gonna auction you off like certain other camps, but, you know what I mean? We ain't gonna line you up there in the Passover and be like, hey, this sister right here, you know what I mean? But, those are people you know. Those are people been doing the work, been doing it for a while since you've been in, you know what I mean? And you've been in for a minute, so find you a brother, It's really, really tough in the world to find them because it'll take some time, At least in here, you can get that basis out of the way. Okay, this brother been here a minute. You know what I mean? He in that truth. He been here not staring at me the whole time in class and not trying to drool on me every time he come in. So, maybe I'll see what he's up to. And y'all start a process. You see that? But if you get one from the world, just like I said, just know you have the responsibility, all right? Because you know that whoever you do lay with, to scratch that itch, that's your husband. And if you don't intend for that person to be your husband, that's fornication. You understand? And fornication is not something to mess with because 1 Corinthians 6 and 9 tells you these type of people will not inherit the kingdom of God. You understand? So that was 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. Where they at?
I was reading because the way the Most High used that term, fornication, like when I first read it, and I know you guys have been studying, but when I had first read it, I took it as like it had to be something like wicked with the sex or something more like. When I started seeing, I'm like, what could this be? Because he created us to, you know what I'm saying? And then he didn't say whoremongering, because I know what that is, you know what I'm saying? So when he say fornication, so when you look at it, say it like illicit. So that means that's something that ain't supposed to happen, like bestiality and homosexuality and stuff like that. That's more like what I would think.
Right. When you look it up in a dictionary now, it tells you it's illicit type of sexual activity, right? But the fornication came from like the Latin fornix, and it was another word. But basically, it was like something you did in the gates, like where you just met up with somebody and you used to bang somebody out. And they called you did it under the fornix or in the fornix, so they called it fornicating, right? So you got to look into the etymology of these words and get old dictionaries because right now they try to that's fornication, but I've been banging everybody down the block. So fornication is when you do it with an animal or with a bear or with you know what I mean, when you use it when you jumping on cucumbers and bats and stuff. No, fornication is when you sleeping with anybody that's not your husband or your wife. You understand? And when you don't intend for them to be your husband or wife. You see that? And for a woman, if you sleep with anybody outside of your husband, that's adultery. See? Why? Because you committed fornication with that other person. I'm getting my rocks off with this person, because my husband don't do it that way, or he don't do this and he don't do that, right? He don't do it with peanut butter and jelly, so I'm gonna go off with the mailman. That's fornication, but it's adultery, right? With the man, you go lay with some other woman. This is not your wife, okay? But you only did it for a one night stand or to get your rocks off, and you ain't got no intention of making her your wife. Guess what? That you fornicated. You understand? So that's like I said, the older dictionaries would tell you basically it was just having sex without intent of marriage. What's that?
That's why I have an 1828 dictionary for app. It says the incontinence or lewdness of unmarried person.
That's how you do it. You get the old dictionaries. You Google the 1820 or 1828, right? And you try to go as far back as you can. 1700 dictionary. So they keep a lot of that online in PDF. That way you can go in there and see what the old definition was. All right, because it said, what is it again?
It says the incontinence or lewdness of unmarried person.
Right. See, the uncontrollability, the incontinence means you can't control yourself, right? You burning, and you're unmarried. So that means, and the lewdness, right? The basically, I'm gonna just go get nasty with this girl, right? But we're unmarried. You see that? That's why he used the word, I'd rather you marry than to burn. Because otherwise you in fornication. You understand? You just trying to get your rocks off. You being lewd and incontinent on controlling yourself, and you doing what you want to do. You see that? All right.
If you sponsor dead, each one were dead, then you're really not committing adultery, right?
You said what?
If each one of your sponsors is dead, you're not committing adultery.
Yeah, if for a woman, if your husband died, yeah, you're free from that law. I think that's also in 1 Corinthians 7 as well. Right. Huh? For a woman, is death. She's under the law of her husband as long as he lives. All right. So yeah, even if he was off and decided to leave the truth, you're still his wife. You're dwelling with an unbeliever now. So now you're under 1 Corinthians 7, verse 14, where if you have an unbelieving husband, he'd be content to dwell with you. You see that? But she's under the law of her husband as long as he lives. You see that? But yeah, for a man, that fornication becomes when he doesn't intend to take that woman that he laid with as his wife, whether it be also or in general. You see that? All right. But yeah, you definitely want to avoid, like the scriptures say, avoid fornication. All right. Whether it be with yourself or others. All right. And it's another one in the Apocrypha. Let me get it for you real quick.
Wisdom of Solomon 3:14.
Did you get it? What's that?
Blessed is the eunuchs.
Eunuch.
Oh, eunuch.
That's the one.
All right. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3 verse 14. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3 verse 14. And blessed is the eunuch.
Eunuch.
I'm sorry, it's a lot. And blessed is the eunuch, which with his hands hath wrought no iniquity.
So a eunuch is a person who's basically decided that the eunuch in this case he's talking about is the one that has decided that they're going to be like Paul. That by choice, I'm going to go ahead and follow the law, statutes, commandments all my life, study all my life, commit myself completely and totally to the law of the Most High. They're blessed. They get this special gift of faith, according to Matthew 5, right? But read on.
Nor imagined wicked things against God.
Now read it from where you're at. Blessed is the eunuch.
And blessed is the eunuch, which with his hands hath wrought no iniquity.
who ain't working iniquity with his hands. You see that? All right, so that's telling you the masturbation thing is a no-no. All right. Blessed that eunuch who keep your hands off of yourself. Get back in the book. If you want to avoid it, get in here. You see that? If you want to, all the demons flee when that word come out. You know what I mean? It's hard to even be in the mood when that's out, right? When you was in the world, right? Like somebody want to lay down with you, you got the picture of Jesus over there. You're like, oh, I can't do this in front of Jesus. Flip the picture down, right? Take the cross off the hook. Hold on, put this in the drawer real quick, right? Why? Because you knew that there was those spirits knew that there was some things are sacred, right? Even though it was fake Jesus and all that, right? It was known that there are certain things that are sacred, and so that's the same thing. If you want them spirits to flee, resist the devil; he'll flee from you. James 4. Go in the scriptures. Start reading. Just pick a spot. Man, I'm really feeling it right now. If that ain't working, call somebody. Call a sister. Hey, you want to hang out or something? I got to get the hell up out the house. It's getting real in here. Get you a person, like even in the world, they tell you do that. Get you what they call an accountability partner, right? That's why I posted that on Facebook the other day. You ain't anti-cap, you anti-accountability. Because cats want to be able to go do stuff like that, go take care of themselves somewhere in front of their computer, and not be able to have somebody calling them in their ear like, hey, you all right, man? What you doing? You understand? And every time you try to do some wickedness, you'll get that phone call. You know what I mean? The spirit will just tell them, hey, you need to hit up Sister Bree over there. Why? Oh, no, I'll just call her anyway. You know what I mean? The next thing you know, you was just over there on the laptop and it bing. What you want? You know what I mean? Hey, we should kick it. Right now? Yeah. Right? I want to hate you so bad, but you buying dinner. You buying lunch. It's all good. You know what I mean? All right, let's do it. And you ain't going to want to at first, but as you keep exercising yourself and resisting those things, those urges, then it'll be easier. You understand? Until you find that person that fits with your Matthew 6:33, where you've been seeking first the kingdom of the Most High and His righteousness, and letting those things get added on to you. All right.
Got it.
So I came in worse than your situation, sis. So, you know what I mean? Oh shoot, 22, 20. Yeah, I was 20, about 21. Yeah, I was 21 when I came into truth. Had never dealt with a woman. And I was 24 before I got my wife. So, you know, I know the feeling, man. You just like, yeah, I can't do what? But that's the thing, is you wanna be put through that process. You understand? You would rather trust and believe me, you do not want to let your hormones pick out your husband. You understand? You don't want to let your hormones put you in a situation where now the Most High is holding you accountable for. Because that's bad news all the time. It never ends right. We done seen that too. All right. Well, where you at?
Verse 14, second precept. For unto him shall be given the special gift of faith.
See, they're going to give, this is in this scripture. Yeah, to him, to that eunuch that hasn't worked no iniquity with his hands, or her that hasn't worked no iniquity with her hands, or with bats, or with battery-operated boyfriends, or none of that other madness, right? Then you'll be granted that special gift of faith. See that?
Good.
Now again, if you don't have any of that, like Paul, what Paul's talking about is basically, you think about it. If you're a man, you got a woman, or you're a woman, you got a man, right? Do you get to sit there and study for 12 hours on end consistently? Nah, because here go your boo trying to rub on your butt. Hey, what's up? What you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to study. Let's do it, right? Hey, baby, you want to go out? Yeah. Hey, baby, I'm hungry. Okay. You know what I mean? You're going to always have this kind of distraction. So it'd be better that at least you have a base. You understand? That way, you know, like I said, when you read Proverbs 6, he tells you about the ant, right? She gathers a meat in due season. So she has no need to harvest. So what do? You study it, you study it, you study. So that way when he does give you a husband, you can take that time out. And you know what? I can put off studying. I still got it in my brain. I still got the scriptures up here. You know what I mean? I can put it off for what you want me to do, and then I can go back to it a different time. But at least when I had the time, I was stored up. You see that? So that's why Paul is saying that about, I wish that all could be like me. Because he was constantly in the word all day, all night. See that? No distractions. All right?
Good.
But did that help at all, or does it help? Like I said, it ain't easy. You know what I mean? It's one thing to say it and to see it and to read it, but it's another thing to actually be able to do it. Some people don't have that problem. I know a lot of women they got like the light switch kind of thing going on where they can just be like, oh, okay, click. You know what I mean? I just wait till you get there then. And then some is like, yeah, right, nigga. What are you talking about? While I'm talking, they're like, yeah, right. You know what I mean? I'm going to get some AA batteries tonight anyway. Right? It's like, ooh. Right? That demon start hitting you. You getting ideas as a person talks. So it's something, I don't know if that's a situation where you got to fight against this urge or if it's something you could just be like, I can wait.
No, it's a fight. Like, I literally be talking to myself, I'll be like feeling really special ed. I'll be like, seriously? Like, you want to, but you don't want to? Like, you so indecisive right now? I'll be like literally cussing myself out because I just feel like special.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's definitely a battle. It's definitely a battle. And that's what Paul's talking about, that burning. You understand? That he'd rather you marry than to burn. So find you a husband. Let's see. Can we get some more info on the shofar? Like history, scripture, when to use it, if women, children can blow it, also, etc. Yeah, that's no problem. Basically, when you go to Leviticus 23, memorial blowing of the trumpets. Yeah, Leviticus, you start at 23, verse 1, and it goes through the feast days and things like that, right? And I'm going down to... There it is, 24.
23, 24?
Yeah, Leviticus 23, verse 24. Speaking of the children of Israel, you just write it down. They're doing this is an online question. Leviticus 23, verse 24. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall you have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of the trumpets, and holy convocation. All right? So that's one of our days where we blew the trumpets. But just about during every feast day, you had the trumpets being done. Every Jubilee, so every 7 years, there was a blowing of the trumpets. All right? And let me see if I can get that Jubilee for you real quick. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you missed the question because he put it up there twice.
What?
If a child is born with leprosy, is that a judgment for a past life?
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. If a child is born with leprosy, is this a judgment for a past life? Sometimes, yes. It goes with that same scripture where we read about where they asked Christ, who did sin, this man or his father, that he was born blind. So that's really up for the Most High to show you. If he heals that man of leprosy, say the man gets the truth and he like, hey man, I woke up yesterday and I started getting brown spots again, and I started being able to walk around in the sun again and not get burnt to a crisp. Then the Most High is healing him of that leprosy based off of him turning from his sins and his wickedness, right? But, you know, some people, that's determined by the Most High. It might be a breach in their own spirit that they did something so wicked, the Most High was like, nah, I got to touch you for that. That's going to be your thorn in your flesh. You got to make up for that. You know what I mean? Like, you look at Paul, right? Paul said he had the thorn in his flesh. Not saying he was leprous, not saying that. But he had that thorn in his flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet him. But why didn't Paul treat it like, this ain't fair, you doing me wrong? Because Paul used to help kill the prophets, kill the apostles. You understand? He used to consent to the death of the apostles. So he already knew, well, that's the Most High whooping my ass for what I used to do. You see that? He get me for what I deserve this. I did him wrong. Y'all see that? So yeah, that's really a determination by the Most High right there. I couldn't tell you that, yeah, this person is being judged because of something they did in their past life. And that's why they got leprosy. The alien megastructure one, it was a news show. That's in editing right now, so expect that pretty soon. Hopefully we can get out real soon. Yeah, we're editing that show. It was what we did for ISB HBK News. All right, so look for that. We'll be putting that out. So as to the shofar thing, where's that at? Yeah, that's Leviticus 25, where you read about the Jubilee or the Jubile. It happens every 50 years, and we blew the trumpet for every 50 years. All right. And then you had, I think it's Sabbath years we did it also. Numbers 10, right? Numbers chapter 10. They have the trumpets made out of silver, and that was for the blowing of the trumpets. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps. And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to you at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And if they blow but with 1 trumpet, then the princes, which are heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto you. When you blow an alarm, when the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward. When you blow an alarm the second time, the camps that lie on the south shall. So he's showing them how we blew the trumpets in order to move the camps. All right. So that was Numbers chapter 10. You can find that. Then Psalms 81 verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed, on the solemn feast days. So on these certain times of the year, we blew the trumpets. Right? And again, all those are kind of a pretense of things to come. A portent of things to come. Like in Revelation, you find out that there's going to be those 7 trumpets getting blown for the destruction that's going to happen to the earth. All right. What else we got? If possible, can you put together a class for us to be able to calculate the high holy days, feast days, beginning of the year, new moons, etc., please? Okay. Yeah, I meant to tell y'all, I don't know how we missed it, but again, May 30th began the Feast of Weeks. All right, it's known as the Feast of Weeks or the Feast of the First Fruits. All right, It began that. The first day of that was a Sabbath. The last day of the 50 days from there is also a Sabbath. All right. So and we gotta get more on top of that. So we'll try to get something going with that. Because right now we just kind of do it as they come up. We do a class on it, and then we let everybody know what's going on those major ones. But for some reason we've been missing the memorial blowing of the trumpet. So we're gonna get more on top of that. So I think that's it for questions. So that's right on time. For questions online, y'all got any more questions in here?
Lie.
What you got, sis?
Now just say something as we go through the class. That's why I brought the book of Leviticus. Everything was to be here tonight.
Oh, okay.
And then sometime when we get finished with the book, we have to write in our own words. See what I made 100 at. But that's what y'all was talking about. I was just going to this book.
Yeah.
Of Leviticus.
Yeah, that's how the spirit work. It ain't gonna let you get away from that one.
Yeah, that's what we. The book is called Holy Living.
Holy living.
The book of Leviticus.
Oh, okay, nice.
You speak to.
Yeah,
I had a great teacher.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Any other questions before I dismiss this from online? If y'all got any other questions tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. we'll be here. All right, and then the regular schedule: Monday, Wednesday, 7 to 10 p.m., Friday, 6 to 9, and then Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And don't forget kids class from 11 a.m. to 11 a.m. to noon. All right, on ISB HPK Kids. All right. But with that, we're gonna say shalom. All right. Shabbat shalom. Shalom.
Now to say something right quick. Today at 1:51, Willie passed.
Oh,
At 1:51.
dang, man. Yeah, I was gonna come see him after class. Wow.
So I just came home.
He didn't want to wait for me, yeah? I said he didn't want to wait for me to come see him.
No, he passed about 1:51 p.m. today.
Dang, I'm sorry to hear that, sis.
I just, came home and said, listen, I'm on a journey and I'm still on the journey. And I continue my journey.
No doubt. Wait, we would definitely send us some prayers for him, you know what I mean?